welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
"1864. We were first class then, and we're first class now. With a dream to spread cricket through Lancashire's towns, where girls and boys, with willow and leather, become more than a badge, but the red rose together."
A club where more than legends are made, but friendships, obsessions, moments replayed on our screens, in our minds, in our hearts forever. 'Cause it's who we are, our DNA, the red rose together.
Statham, Briggs, Jimmy, Freddie and Joss, Chappie, Sir Clive Lloyd, Carol Hodges, Kate Cross. What a roll call. It's a hard one to measure, with future names still to be written on the red rose together.
We're all about people. It's what the red rose really means. Yeah, the ones signing autographs, but the ones behind the scenes.
Our community, grassroots, the ones that feel tethered. Whether you're from here or belong here, we're the red rose together.
And what about this place? Talk about world-class venues. Internationals, gigs, events. You can choose from a menu of triumph, of disaster, of pain, or pleasure.
We've seen it all at Emirates Old Trafford, with the red rose together.
Red ball, white ball, lightning and thunder.
Have you ever sat back? Have you ever just wondered how far we've come? The storms we've weathered, or how far we'll go as the red rose together.
I'm afraid the scene is a gloomy one. The covers are on, and well, it's gloomy because the floodlights are on and there's some rain falling. There we are in our commentary box. There's Nick, and we're waiting for this to clear. But the forecast is that it's going to be a little bit like this for potentially the next couple of hours. It's not like there's one big heavy band of rain that's coming in and that's it. It's going to plonk itself over the ground and going to rain all day. It's just kind of like little waves of rain showers coming through. But as you can see, with the floodlights on and the conditions are a bit gloomy. Not ideal, Nick Webb, for Glamorgan, who are 5 wickets away from a fabulous win.
It's an English conspiracy. They've been seeding the clouds to send the rain over Manchester this morning because, as you've been telling me, it never normally rains in Manchester.
No, it's normally lovely, so I don't quite know what's going on.
Dear, 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 dear. Well, yes, as I've advised my office this morning, this match could end any time between 11:15 and 6 o'clock. Well, it's not going to be 11:15 now because they're not going to get on before then with so much sheeting across the ground. And the weather filling in a little bit over the glamorous sun-kissed skyscrapers of Manchester.
Yes, frustrating for Glamorgan. Lancashire won't be overly concerned. But as I say, I'm not so sure. It's difficult to predict these things, but the radar that I've been shown would suggest that it's not here for that long. But at the minute, it doesn't look like it's clearing any time soon. As you can see for our viewers on Lancs TV, and we welcome the listeners on the BBC Sport website and app as well, it's a target of 473. Lancashire are under 250 runs away from that target, but having lost 2 wickets late on last night, Wells and then Hurst, certainly it is a considerable advantage for Glamorgan going into this final day. I don't know who you caught up with last night after the...
Luke Wells was very bullish, wasn't he, about
he definitely was, yes.
Prospects. I think if he had still been in, there would have been great worry for Welsh listeners and supporters. But those 2 last wickets, the departures of Wells and then Hurst, have turned things back in Glamorgan's favour, where they've been for a large percentage of the match. Kieran Carlson saying, well, it's not over, but we only need 5 good balls to win the match, and he's sure the bowlers have got it in them. It's interesting performance from the Glamorgan bowlers yesterday. Mason Crane having been a first innings wizard for Glamorgan, and his wand was somewhat blunted as he went for 7 and over and bowled a few half-trackers. But as I remarked to someone over the cornflakes this morning, that's leg spinners for you. Match winners one day and not so impressive the next, but there we are. He's done his share for Glamorgan in this match, and I'm sure there'll be enough in the wicket for everyone to fancy their chances of chipping in for Glamorgan. But this rain is somewhat heavier than I expected, to be honest. It's probably the heaviest we've had over these few days, because it's been mostly light drizzle, if anything. Let's summon up the BBC forecast for the Manchester area. Light rain and a gentle breeze. Well, it says there's a 37% chance of it raining at 12, 32% at 1, 25, 29%. So it's one of those forecasts where we may get persistent showers, or indeed, if we're lucky, we may miss it all. But it looks as though there should be able to be some play at some point this afternoon. And of course, we'll bring you all the action as it stands. 226 for 5 Lancashire, with Bailey 9 not out, Harris 24 not out overnight. Luke Wells is 102 really lit up the evening session yesterday. It was an action-packed evening session of 51 overs, one of the longest you'll get in county cricket. And the caught and bowled that James Harris took to get rid of Luke Wells could have been the pivotal moment of the match. 2 wickets to Harris, 1 apiece to Mason Crane, to Asitha Fernando, and to Ben Callaway. The other spinner will be looking to get plenty of action today, but unfortunately the scene outside remains pretty miserable. The drizzle is pretty steady at the moment, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any play, I'd say, probably in the next hour or so at least, because the ground staff will need time to get all that sheeting off, and the players to have some sort of warm-up. I'm sure Glamorgan would be happy to keep that to a minimum. Reminder of the situation in the table. Well, Glamorgan starting the game in 2nd, and Lancashire in 4th with 21 points between the two sides. And that gap has increased by 1 as things stand, because Glamorgan got 1 batting point to go with their 3 bowling points. Lancashire having to settle for the bowling points. So we'll have a look at what's happening elsewhere in the country. With Test match on day 2. Bad news for England is that Chris Wokes' injury, his shoulder injury suffered last night, is expected, or certain really, to keep him out of the rest of the match. So England down to 3 seamers and no real specialist spin options, with Bethel and Root filling in that role. India are 215 for 6 there. In Division 1, runs aplenty at Chelmsford. Essex 602 for 6 declared. Warwickshire in reply 465 for 9. Barnard 96 not out. At Trent Bridge, Nottinghamshire have piled up 511 for 6 in reply to Somerset's 438 all out, with Hasib Hamid, the star of the show, making 208 there. At New Road, Hampshire against Worcestershire. Hampshire are 142 for 2 in their 2nd innings. That's a lead of 186 runs over the pairs. So remains to be seen whether that'll be enough to make a game of it. Some sort of declaration. Sussex battling to avoid defeat at Scarborough. Sussex are 116 for 3 in their 2nd innings. That's still a mammoth 207 runs behind, but after a shocking start, Sussex do have half-centuries from Hughes and Ibrahim, who are both unbeaten at the moment. In Division 2, more of relevance to these two sides. It's a start delayed at Northampton as well, where Northants are very much on top against Derbyshire, and supporters of Lancashire and Glamorgan will be hoping that Northants get a chance to complete victory there to hit Derbyshire's chances. Derbyshire 52 for 4 in their 2nd innings, and that's still 121 runs in arrears. They are playing at Canterbury, where the leaders Leicestershire in action against the bottom side Kent. Kent are 220 for 3. They're still in the 1st innings in reply to Leicestershire's 4-7-1 all out. They've had large passages of play washed out there. Ben Compton is 113 not out for Kent. And sadly at Cheltenham, they're not having much luck with the festival, as we remarked yesterday. Gloucestershire stuck on 54 for 1 in reply to Middlesex's 445 all out. So The prospect here is not for any immediate cricket. The rain has come down maybe just in time for Lancashire. Luke Wells would probably tell you that he wants to get his team out there. He was talking up all the prospects of the batters still to come. Chris Green apparently has been superhuman, Scott Reed.
He has looked a little bit like Superman at times. I'll definitely agree with Luke with that one, yeah. He's been wearing a cape for quite a lot of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, tremendous first innings bowling performance from Chris Green, who is due to join up with the Welsh Fire outfit next week for the 100 franchise. And we'll be competing for spin bowling places with the two Glamorgan spinners in this match, Mason Crane and Ben Callaway. And Mason Crane was telling me the other evening how excited he was for the prospect, and excited to have Ben Callaway alongside him as well, with a second Glamorgan representative and the only Welsh man in the Welsh Fire. One Welsh man, one Welsh woman in the franchise squads this year, because you've got Salty, of course, up here. Phil Salt, North Walian. And Iron Donald's firmly rooted in the Midlands these days. So, unfortunately, the situation out in the middle is that the water is starting to accumulate gently on the sheets, on the covers. And so that will take a little bit of time to mop up once the rain does stop. Skies are looking a little bit lighter, he says, optimistically peering into the distance of the football ground. Fingers crossed that we will get some play at some stage, if not this morning, then early in the afternoon, Scott.
Indeed, yeah, we'll keep you posted on any further developments, but the fourth and final day delayed due to rain.
Two names rich in history. Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
I never really considered playing anywhere else. And, you know, I'm quite happy to go on camera now and say that the schedule for 2023 is unacceptable.
It would be fair to say that your career wasn't smooth.
I think I care about the club. The club's been very good to me.
Was that a conscious decision to go then, or was that in some way forced upon you?
It's a good question, isn't it? I thought that might come up.
Did it take you by surprise, the enormity of the role and the scope of it?
You feel like you can put your points across and it never gets listened to, and who are the chief decision makers around how we try and move forward?
Do you get frustrated, the fact that your job here is to promote Lancashire cricket in spite of the ECB demands on you?
I think one of the things I battled my whole career was belief, really.
Welcome along to our studio high up in the Player and Media Centre at Emirates Old Trafford for another edition of Beyond the Boundary. I'm delighted to say that this time I've got alongside me Mark Chilton, who has been associated with the club now since the late 90s as a player, opening batsman, captain for 2 or 3 seasons through the early 2000s, and in various coaching capacities over his time at the club. And he's now Director of Cricket Performance. Welcome along, Mark. It's good to have you along.
Thanks, Paul.
You were born in Sheffield. I didn't realise that. You keep that one quiet. But your formative years were spent no more than 5 miles away down the road at Sale.
That's right. Yeah. Not my choice to be born over there, but yeah, Mum and Dad was working over there at the time, so. And came to Sale when I was 1, which is just down the road, as you say. So I've never been a million miles away from this place, and I suppose it all started at quite an early age, just down the road on the streets of Sale.
So yeah, closely tied to Emirates Old Trafford, or Old Trafford as it was in those days. You were educated at Manchester Grammar, and that probably formed the earliest link with Lancashire Cricket Club at that time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you may or may not know that Manchester Grammar was part of the old Lancashire boundary. Well, this is always my understanding of it. And that gave us a route into Lancashire cricket. So as much as Sale is a Cheshire postcode, and I did represent Cheshire at a couple of year groups because it went out of the school system. Obviously back in the day it was Lancashire schools, and therefore if you were associated to a Lancashire school, even one that was within the old Lancashire boundary, we had ways of getting involved. And obviously David Moss, who still works with us, to be fair, was my cricket master at Manchester Grammar, and he was the person who essentially really drove that process and got me into the trial system. I remember going to Bolton School for the trial for under 13s, I think it was, so quite quickly after I'd started at Manchester Grammar. And yeah, got into that team many years ago. You got into that age group system then. Who were your contemporaries? Yeah, so well, interestingly, I'm the same year in age as Phil Neville. So at that age group, Phil was already pretty well established. There'd been a Lancashire Schools under-11s team which I hadn't been part of. So Phil was comfortably the best player, and I ended up opening the batting with him during that season. Andrew Flintoff came on the scene quite quickly. Really, he was involved at Lancashire under-11s as well. So he obviously was a very promising young player as well, and he would play a year up. So he was in that team a little bit as well. So yeah, no, it was interesting. I mean, Phil was an excellent cricketer. You know,
Would he have made it, do you think?
Well, on the evidence,
mean, we'll get us that.
Yeah, I mean, on the evidence we had, yeah, comfortably, really. I mean, he was sort of streets ahead of a lot of us at that age, really. I mean, physically he was quite well developed, and he was strong and he was quick. I think he carried on playing for a couple of years, didn't he? But even by the time he finished at 15s, he was still a very, very good player. So he was outscoring me on a regular basis, and I suppose I was doing all right. He bowled quite quick at that age as well. I mean, I know he didn't. I don't know whether he'd have developed into an effective seamer, but he certainly had real potential with the bat. Yeah.
From a personal point of view, then, being fortunate enough and bright enough to go to Manchester Grammar, and to be good enough to represent Lancashire Schools, there was a balance, presumably, between maintaining a sporting enthusiasm and your academic qualities and skills. Where did that sit? Were your parents very involved with that, making sure that you had a good grounding in education? Did that come from school as well?
I never felt any pressure from any of that, really. I just think I had very supportive parents, regardless of what I wanted to do. I played a lot of football when I was a kid as well, and really up to the age of about 16, football would have been my #1 sport. So, you know, balancing football, cricket and academic in that day was fairly normal. Lots of people did it. Manchester Grammar was a fabulous place to do that, and you know, you got such good quality teaching and great support around all of it that it never really, I never felt like I was picking and choosing. I never sacrificed any sport for my studies. You just learn probably from an early age that, you know, you had to be reasonably time efficient and make sure you didn't, you know, waste too much time. But I got so much pleasure out of playing sport that I never saw that as a chore. I never saw training for sport as a chore. And you just try and do as well as you can at your academic stuff as you go along, really. So I just had a lot of people who were very supportive of that process. And I mean, David to this day was you know, he was instrumental in helping that support sort of happen through those years, really.
It's good balanced grounding then. You took the university route out of school. Was there ever a thought that you were good enough or could come straight to Lancashire from school?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, that. I think at the time, no. You know, I think one of the things I battled my whole career was belief, really, is believing that you're good enough to actually be there. And certainly at that time at that age, 17 or 18, I knew I was good because you in comparison to your peers, you were performing well, but it certainly wasn't nailed on for me at all. And I think the two key instances, really, the under-19 cricket festival in Cambridge, which you'll probably remember. It ran for many years, and all the counties would go down there. John Stanworth was the coach of that team. David was the manager. John Stanworth was the coach, and I had a really strong week down there on quite difficult pitches. And I suppose I felt like I played at a good level there. You know, I knew who my contemporaries were nationwide, and I was competing with them, I suppose. And I think on the back of that, John certainly thought, right, we might have something here. And I think it sort of played out where John probably recommended me higher up then. But by that stage, I was already geared to go to Durham Uni, so really hadn't really given it much of a thought.
It's an interesting one because, of course, at that time there was no academy, so there was no. It was straight out of the school system.
Yeah.
And if you were good enough, and there were very few that were, you got a professional contract. So in a way, by going to university and playing at a really good cricketing university like Durham, that helped your cricketing development as well as everything else, of course.
Yeah, hugely. You know, it was such an important part of my development, really. for the very reasons that you've just said. If I'd have come out of school at 18, I probably wasn't quite ready to mix it with the staff that was currently happening. It didn't happen very often that. You had to be an exceptional 18-year-old to really push yourself into that professional squad. And that's why, even to this day, I'm still a supporter of the university system, because it gave you the opportunity to carry on studying and learn other things. But it also gave you a bit of time. And the academy system, we try and get players ready a little bit earlier now, but you know as well as I do that 18, 19, 20 stage, you never quite sort of know when you're going to be ready for it. And my experience at Durham was the second sort of big catalyst to me generating enough belief in myself and probably improving my play to a point where I actually felt confident that I think I can do this. Graham Fowler, an old friend of yours, was hugely influential during that period, largely built around belief, really, just saying you're good enough to do this. And that sort of experience, I started to think, you know what, I think I can mix it with other professional cricketers.
So when did the light switch get flicked then? When was the time? I mean, you obviously performed well at Durham and enough to keep Lancashire interested.
Yeah.
Presumably playing second team cricket in the holidays, etc. So when was the moment that you thought, I'm going to give it a go?
Yeah, I don't.
Or when did they come and say, we'll give you the opportunity?
Yeah, well, I don't actually remember a specific moment. I mean, that's quite a funny story, really, because I had applied to do business economics at uni, so I was all set to sort of get my head around that. But the first weekend I went to college, so I'd been at college for a week at Grey College up in Durham. Bumble phoned my dad, so David Lloyd, who was the coach, phoned my dad and said we'd like to take him onto a summer contract. So the first weekend I was at university, I phoned home at the weekend and they said Lancashire have been on and they want to offer you a summer contract. So from that moment on, really, so that was my first year at Durham, I was very much, right, I've got a chance here. And, essentially I knew that I was going to carry on studying as a normal student, play for Durham, but then in the summer I had Lancashire to go back to. So, as much as I suppose my studies might have suffered a little bit, because really from that moment on I thought, right, I've got a chance now, I've got an opportunity, and I think my majority of my focus sort of went into then trying to be a pro cricketer.
Well, if it's anything like me, and I was similarly at Durham, it's about the best time of your life, isn't it? Because from April onwards, you're supposedly at university, but you're playing cricket for uni and whatever else. And then after that, you're playing second team cricket for Lancashire. So you've got the best of all worlds at a very early age.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I see it. I had a wonderful experience there. I mean, again, mixing it with lots of other players who went on and had great careers. And I suppose there were three things I did at university. They would try and be a professional cricketer was the first one, socialise and then work, and in that order. And really, it was a great time, and we were blessed really there. We had good facilities. The professional coach came in, so Graham got the job in my second year. So all the funding that came from the MCCU went into the universities in my second year. So we then had a full-time coach who was available to us. So, lots of things happened for me around that period that were pretty instrumental and gave me a really good chance, I suppose. And then once you've got that opportunity, you've got to then take it. And I suppose with regards to a light switch moment for me, I know I wasn't the greatest player of all time, but what I was always able to do was I was just able to step up each time. So every time, so when I came back into Lancashire 2s in the summer, I started to perform well quite quickly. I had success at Durham University against the counties. So I was always able to just go that level up. And when I got into the first team quite early, I performed quite well early on. And I suppose you think, right, I can do this. And, I suppose Test cricket was always out my reach a little bit. Or maybe I didn't ultimately believe I was good enough to play at that level, but I had enough belief to have a decent career with Lancs.
And you did just that. You forged a very good career as a batsman for Lancashire over a number of years, averaging over 32, I think, through your career. But it would be fair to say that your career wasn't smooth. It wasn't as smooth. You weren't always inked into the first team. You had peaks and troughs, in your career. one year, I think 2008, you were in and out of the side quite a lot. So looking back, has that experience of the ups and downs and the experience that you've outlined going through school and university, has that put you in a good position, do you think, in your coaching and now your performance director roles?
I suspect so, but what do you compare that against?
Well, it gives you an example of having good times and bad times, which everybody has to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, certainly understanding what it feels like to be 12th man quite often, understanding to go to bed the night before a game and not know whether you're playing or not. I was never an absolute shoo-in for periods of my career. Experiencing the challenges of professional cricket, which the majority of cricketers would experience, but when you're an opening batter, sometimes that sort of feels even worse. You feel for however many overs and you go out and get a duck in the whatever, you do ask yourself, what am I doing here?
Why am I doing this? Yeah.
So, as well as I do, you know as well as I do, it's an emotional roller coaster at times, what we did. And, I don't regret any of it. There were some challenging times. I think it probably gives me a sense of balance, but to be honest, I probably think I've always had that anyway. So I think I've always had a balanced perspective on life and how to approach things. I've always been quite observing of any environments I've been in to pick up whatever skills I now have to help me with the roles I've done. And I'm still trying to learn that all the time, I suppose. So I'm sure it probably will have helped, but then it probably helps being a world-class player because they have experiences that I don't have. So, look at what McCullum and Stokes are doing with the England team now. So it's all relative to your own context, I think, and you just got to understand your strengths and weaknesses and what your possible gaps are, I think.
I think if anybody wants to understand the commitment and the belief and the feeling you have for Lancashire, they only have to trawl through the archives and look back to that 2007 county championship year when Lancashire went into the final game leading the county championship, just got pipped at the post and couldn't quite beat Surrey. I remember I did the interview with you for Sky, and I remember you being in tears.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I was choking back I wasn't quite choking back the tears, but it was a hugely emotional moment for you. And I've not really interviewed many people in tears before, but that just told me exactly what it meant to you.
Yeah, and I suppose when you're in charge and you're the captain, you're also carrying it for the team as well, and everyone who was associated with the club at the time, all the members and everybody. It was Lancashire winning the championship was something that we just hadn't done for years and years and years. So you felt that responsibility, and I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I'm most proud of, Paul, above everything is, and this was the one, my dad was an average cricketer, but the one thing he used to say was you just got to do your best and you never know when you're beaten, basically, so you just got to give your all. And the one thing I can sit here and comfortably say is that every time I walked onto the field, whether I was fielding or batting, I tried my best, and I'm very comfortable with that. And really, I suppose it does sometimes that manifests itself in those moments. I'm not a massively emotional person, but that I genuinely thought we were going to do it that day. I think that's what I found that interview very difficult, because for 90% of the day I thought we're going to do this, and then it was just taken away from us at the end.
But that drive, that ambition, that emotion, you carry that through, I think, in your roles now that I've seen when you've been coaching and you were performance manager and now director of cricket performance. I think it'd be fair to say you carry that philosophy with you.
Yeah, and I think I care really, at the end of the day. I think I care about the club. The club's been very good to me since I was 13 years old. From the moment I've started playing for the club. I've got such joy and reward out of being involved with Lancashire cricket that you know, it's almost, you know, it's a non-negotiable for me to just have that attitude towards the club and the team. And I think when you're really invested in it, you just want to see everyone involved in it and get the rewards for a lot of the hard work. I think that's an element of it as well. Really, is you see, take now for example, you see the effort that goes in behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see, from either the coaches or even the players when they're not on the pitch, and everyone who's involved around it, all the people at the club who work hard to provide as much support and resource for us as possible. And that's why last year was a bit crushing, really, because all you want to do is get over the line and win, because you know that it just brings so many people a lot of satisfaction, and a lot of people, in my view, you know, they deserve that feeling and success. So
you finished your career on a team high after the 2011 County Championship win, and was that a conscious decision to go then, or was that in some way forced upon you? Was it the county that didn't re-engage you, or was it a conscious decision?
I'd probably made that decision a few weeks out, so there was probably a glimmer of hope that maybe either I would get offered new terms, or I never really considered playing anywhere else. I think that was. I remember walking off at Egbert against Warwickshire. And Dad used to work down in the docks at Runcorn, and he used to come to Egbert a bit. And I remember speaking to him after that game. I hadn't had a great game, and I just sort of said, I'm done, I think. I can remember it now. And that was about 6 weeks to go. And I remember sitting with Lee Richardson, our performance psychologist, who was desperately trying to look at the positives of where I was at, and I just said, look, there's nothing you can say now. And I think in my head now, I've been through that roller coaster, and it was quite important for me that it might have been a few weeks. It'd be interesting to see what the date was, because at that point I just then decided that the club and the team was onto something a bit bigger than me. And at the back end of your career, that's quite difficult to do as a player, because you want your career to carry on as long as possible. You're earning money, you've got a family to look after. But I remember sort of finding a bit of peace with that in a way, and just going, right, all that matters now is that I can give what I can give to the cause, and because I'd much rather just, if we can finish on that high, then I'll be able to walk away pretty comfortable or very happy from it all. And that's essentially, so I'd sort of got over it with about 2 months to go, I think. Okay. Yeah. So. You
were well educated, obviously you got a degree at Durham, you'd been to Manchester Grammar School. At what point did you start thinking about what am I going to do next? Was it always going to be coaching? Because you're a level 4 qualified coach now. Yeah. I'm not sure you were at the end of your career.
Yeah.
Your playing career.
That's right, yeah. Was it always going to be coach? No, not really. No, I suppose I'd tried a few things. I'd always had a bit of an eye on other things. I worked in a bank for 6 months, and certainly I was able to scratch that one off. I didn't fancy doing that for the next 20 years. So Morsey was quite a big influence. Pete was quite a big influence. I suppose when Pete came, I really saw. I know I'd talked about there have been influences throughout my career, and Graham was one of them at Durham. But I suppose Pete was someone who I really saw the value in real expert elite coaching.
He took it to a different level. I mean, I remember when he came here, I was on the interview panel, and he just blew us all away in interview. It was just a completely different approach. And coaching's evolved very quickly, actually, rapidly over the last 20 years, certainly.
Well, certainly my experience of working with him for 3 years, after that difficult year in 2008, I then went on and became Player of the Year 2009, and that was, Pete was a hugely important part of that, really. So I suppose I really started to think and believe in the power of good elite coaching and what difference it could make. And obviously, but opportunities were becoming, I suppose, more available within the professional game. So ultimately that's where I ended up going. Yeah, I ended up going down, doing my qualifications, but having some time out as well at Manchester Grammar, which was also a really useful period for me.
But I sense there are steps in the Mark Chilton progression here. That it isn't purely cricket, because you didn't go from school to cricket. You went to university, you got a degree. You played cricket, but you did other things. You then got a coaching level 4 coaching qualification, but that wasn't enough. You went and did a master's in sports directorship, I think. So there's always been something behind the progression. It's not. It might be sport orientated, but it's not just purely cricket. Would that be right?
Yeah, it probably would be right. Yeah, and part of that is just an appetite to learn and improve. Really, I suppose. Certainly, the masters again was an opportunity that I thought, right, this looks quite interesting. And as much as I was enjoying the coaching and the practical side of coaching, I suppose I did look at myself and think, what strengths have I got? And management and managing people and leadership to a degree was something that I was interested in learning more about. So again, that was the people you meet through that process, and I suppose you're right in some way that there was always part of me that I wasn't necessarily just sticking my flag to the mast of being a batting coach, and as much as I enjoy the practical side of coaching, I suppose there were other interests that I wanted to explore. I mean, what I've never done, Paul, which is goes against the grain a lot of the time, is I've never really set goals for myself. So I don't sit here. I certainly didn't sit in 5 years ago and say I wanted your job. It's not how I viewed it. It wasn't a case, and I've never done that. I didn't do it with my cricket, and I don't do it now. I don't sit here now thinking what next. I'm more about just learning through the experience of what I'm doing, and seeing what opportunities might happen. And really, through your support, I got the chance to do a performance director role, which led me just branched me off batting coaching, and I started to have to think about structures and systems, and then I was lucky enough to get your role, which has opened a whole world of new challenges and learning experiences. And I suppose in some ways I find that quite what's the word I'm looking for? Stimulating, I suppose. I find that quite mentally stimulating, that I'm learning all the time, whether it's HR, whether it's jobs, whether it's contracts, whether it's budgets. You're quite right that I don't necessarily see myself just a single point of skill set. I'm quite willing to sort of experience different things.
I think it's a good job that you don't plough a single furrow, especially in the role that you're in now, because let's talk a little bit about that now. It's essentially director of cricket in all but name director of cricket performance, and that is a relatively modern role within the game. All these roles have suddenly appeared: head coach, different types of coaching, specialist coaching. They were never around 20, 30 years ago, nor was a director of cricket. So director of cricket performance, you obviously went into that role knowing the broad brushstrokes of the job. But I would think that within 2 or 3 weeks of taking on the role, you'd be thinking, this is interesting. Not quite what I envisaged. Did it take you by surprise, the enormity of the role and the scope of it?
I suppose in some ways, yeah, it probably did. I mean, I try not to have too many judgments about anything, really. It's not how I'm very much a here and now person, but I suppose, reflecting on it now, absolutely, there are elements of the job which you'll be well aware that you think, oh, crikey, I didn't. But then, I don't know why I didn't think that, because ultimately, when you're leading on a department, ultimately everything comes up to you. You're in charge of a group of people, a number of people across different areas, and therefore, it's going to throw up lots of different challenges. And in some ways, you've done the role. You're a CEO of the cricket department. That's what you are. We've obviously got a CEO of the business, and I sit on the executive of the club, but in the cricket department, it all ultimately funnels up to to myself, and therefore you are operating and you're leading on that area. So all sorts comes your way. And I suppose one thing I'm still wrestling with is just finding enough time to really drill down at the performance side of the cricket. But ultimately, we've got a very experienced, knowledgeable head coach who's able to. I'm able to offload that a lot of that responsibility onto. But I would like to be able to step away sometimes to do a bit more of that strategic thinking around, right, how can we keep driving the performance side of what we do better? Which, at the minute, I just need to find a bit more time to do that.
There's a lot of talk in all sports about improvement through small margins and the minutiae of approach through coaching, psychology, performance, whatever you like to say. Have you had time in the last 12 months to have a look at that aspect of things and see which of the smaller aspects that may be very important but that need more attention to detail?
Yes and no, I suppose, and where I come to with a lot of that is that this is still about people, what we do. So as much as there are data and there are 1%ers, getting the best out of the people that you've got is really important for me, I think, and to really, really think about, have we got the right people in the right roles? Do people know exactly what is expected of them? Have they got the support and resource that they need to do their jobs as well as they can? Essentially, I think that's a fundamental part of this role, is looking at the people we've got involved and ensuring that is working as efficiently and effectively as it can, because more often than not, that's pretty hard to do. And that in itself is a core part of this job, is getting the team you've got working as effectively and efficiently, because they'll find the 1%ers. I think if you give them some accountability and responsibility, and you give them the support and you give them some clarity, they'll be the people who will find the 1%, 2%, 3%ers. It won't just all be on me. It'll be on all of us to say, right, let's look at what we're doing, and you only get to that point by being able to manage that group of people effectively. That's essentially how I see it. Yes, there'll be things out there that, even talking to Glenn this morning, I had a meeting with Glenn this morning. His experience in Abu Dhabi in the last 2 or 3 weeks has just created new conversations for us to have. And that's really what you're looking for all the time, is to just tap into people's knowledge. And we've got so many great staff here, which we're blessed with some brilliant staff across the cricket department and across the science and medical team, across the grounds team. And for me, it's almost trying to get the best out of that. And that's where you'll get your extra 1%, 2%, 5%, as much as my learning away from here. So.
I think that, you sum that up very nicely. Do you get frustrated, or have you come to terms with the fact that your job here at Lancashire is to promote Lancashire cricket and to try and achieve the best you can for Lancashire cricket, but you are doing it in spite of the ECB demands on you in terms of players?
Well, the short answer would be yes. So there are times when there is a degree of frustration where no matter how well you do your role, or you perceive yourself you do your well, you might think you're doing everything and you're covering all your bases, you are still at the mercy of some other decision makers and some other issues that might arise that really impact your environment. We are not look at gosh, name any other sports team really. Just go across the road to Man United. Man United and the manager and the sporting directors at Manchester United, they're not having to manage the Man United fitting into another system. They're just, Man United, how can we get the best out of this club? We as a club, we are, and understandably and rightly so, we have a responsibility towards English cricket as well. We do. That's one of our roles as a county. And therefore, whereas, Ten Hag's not that bothered about England's performance in this World Cup, is it? It doesn't make any difference to him. All he's bothered about is his players and trying to maximise. So he's in a control of a lot of it. American football teams, you know, all the coaches, the great books you read from the American football. It's a very closed environment that they know what they've got. If they do this, this and this, they've got a great chance of succeeding this. I feel in cricket we can do a lot of that stuff, and we are doing a lot of that stuff, but you're still at the mercy of, well, if we do that stuff, we develop really good cricketers, and then they go and play for another team. And Lancashire sort of don't benefit from that in one way, but we benefit in other ways, and we have to sort of accept our position in it all. Seeing what England have done over the last 24 hours, it's brilliant. You know, anyone who likes cricket and anyone who's involved at a county club should be very proud of that and seeing that, and we all play our small part in that.
Is there an onus on counties to start playing red ball cricket like England are?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I thought that might come up. Is there an onus on it? I think I listen to a lot of how England are playing. And what I really love about it is I love their intention. So I love the fact that Stokes, he sees a responsibility to play entertaining cricket. And I think it's just, the debate comes, well, what is entertaining cricket? And it's not always necessarily, but you know, changing round and hitting left-handed and scoring at 7 runs and over. You know, we've all been in the game long enough to know that entertaining cricket can take very different guises and forms. But I think that should be our intention. I think, you know, red ball cricket for me is the purest form of the game. It would be a travesty if that diminishes. So therefore we all have a responsibility to make the red ball game appealing. And I agree with Stokes that really he's prepared to risk losing to ensure that the game, to give himself the best chance of winning, but also to try and create a product that is exciting for people to watch. And you know, lots of people would have tuned into yesterday's game, and if it had been a boring draw, lots of people wouldn't. And I think that's brilliant what they're doing, and I think we all have a responsibility to do that. What it actually looks like with regards to how you play on the field, that's where the debate lies, because if everyone starts swinging, trying to score at 7-8 and over when the ball's doing a bit in April, we don't quite know how that's going to play out. But the intent should be to play positive, exciting cricket that people will enjoy watching.
Would that have formed part of your discussion with Glenn that you've just had?
We didn't. We only had half an hour today, so no. Yeah, I mean.
Or will it then?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I certainly won't be making any suggestions on how I think we should be doing it. I think it's something we just need to be very aware of, because all the modern players will now be thinking, oh right, well there's one way of doing this and there's one way of getting in this team. And for me, there's not necessarily that. You know, again, it's about, you know, how we're going to manage this process where you see an England team and all the players just waxing lyrical about what a great environment it is to have that freedom. Great, get all of that, and I'm on board with all of that. But how does that transfer into your environment when, you know, you've got a developing group of players, you've got some young players in that team who are still trying to develop. So I think, you know, we should have the intention that this is how we want to try and operate, but we also need to be smart, and we need to be, you know, we need to be able to manage, well, when can be really positive. And I think that's what Stokes I think that's what he's doing really well, is he's picking his moments to be properly gung-ho. When he needed to get over the line in the T20 and the 50 over World Cup, he did it another way. And he did it, you know, and that he's an absolute champion, to be fair. I think what he's achieved in the last 2 years is incredible. But I love the intent, Walt.
Yeah, he's certainly a phenomenal individual. Just shifting slightly, what input could you have in terms of formulating the schedule and structure of English county cricket? Do you have an input as a director of performance? How influential are the directors of cricket around the country in shaping the future form of the game, which is imminent, basically? We know what it's going to be for 2023, but it needs to be adjusted.
Yeah. Well, obviously not hugely. I mean, you know the answer to that question, which is
well,
why
it's
you've asked
banging
me.
your head against a brick wall, basically. But I I just wonder if that brick wall that I felt was there when I has become less brick-like, if you like. Maybe there's one or two holes in it, or there's a chance of getting in there.
Ultimately, I don't know what I know what you're alluding to around. You feel like you can put your points across and it never gets listened to, and who are the chief decision makers around how we try and move forward. There are just so many different views. I've very much got the support of the club. So the club have looked at me to drive our decisions around the schedule. I don't think every club is doing that, for one. You know, I think, you know, really it should, in my view, it should be a directors of cricket debate, really, to try and find the appropriate schedule for high performance. Obviously acknowledging that chief execs and chairmen have an important part of in that debate, but the fact that we didn't get the HPR even closely, we didn't even get it close to getting supported, is sort of an indication that actually are the cricket people the key drivers behind the decision making? Possibly not. And you know, I'm quite happy to go on camera now and say that the schedule for 2023 is unacceptable. It is. So we haven't been able to get the HPR through. There's been no change to 2023. There are elements of it that are improved. But if you look at our schedule through May and through into June, you know, no high performing team can operate at 100% all through that period. If you're really talking about raising standards and really trying to drive high performance through that environment, it's not going to happen. There's no time. So there's no time to reflect and review and prepare. So it just depends where the compromise is, and I hope that, you know, there'll be more discussions prior to April 23, because we need to know what we're playing for next season. That's been talked about, and that's important. And I'd just like to see some compromise, and I hope that cricket's voice is taken very seriously, as opposed to just making sure we have 18 successful businesses.
Finally then, from a Lancashire perspective, are you happy where the cricket club is at the moment in terms of its age group performance levels, its academy, and its men's and women's professional setup? It's a bit of a long question, that, but you know, in less than 100 words.
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, yeah. I mean, you know, I know we worked closely on it when you were in the role as well. So I think this has been, you know, where we are now has been the build-up of 4, 5, 6 years' work. I think we've both recognised that there are key areas where we've made quite a significant difference and impact. I think coming second in every competition, as much as it's disappointing, you know, that shows you're doing a lot of good things right. I think the women's game is that's growing all the time. I'm really excited by the new signings. I think that can be really healthy for a team sometimes, as much as, you know, we've got a lot of passion for developing our own cricketers. I think bringing people in from the outside at the appropriate time can just kickstart and really give a catalyst to an environment. So I'm quite keen to see how that progresses, and you know, we'll always be expecting big things there. So on the whole, the short answer to that question is yeah, I'm very happy. As much as I think there are areas that we just got to keep working on, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Mark, thanks very much. 1 year into your role, you've had a fundamental impact already. Long may that continue.
Cheers, thank you.
Two names rich in history: Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't,
so.
Yeah, true.
Two names rich in history, Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Two names rich in history, Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Two names rich in history, Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to our coverage live from Emirates Old Trafford. Delayed coverage, but we're underway, or will be in the next few moments for this fourth and final day across the BBC Sport website and app and on Lancs TV as well, where we have 76 overs remaining in the day's allocation, with lunch at 1 o'clock and tea at 3:40. With that little delayed start, I think we lost 20 overs, haven't we, in the morning session? So we had some rain around, but as soon as it stopped, really, they kind of got on and cracked on with it. They came out to look at 11:45 and then again at midday, and we're happy that play can start at 12:15. So we've got a 45-minute session in the morning, and then 2 more to go in this fixture. But it looks a lot brighter now than what it did when we started at 11 o'clock. When we came on there at 11 o'clock, with lots of cloud cover and horrible gloomy skies and rain. The floodlights were on, all that type of thing. But floodlights are off, it's nice and dry, it's reasonably bright, and we've got some cricket. We've got some spin to get us underway with Ben Calloway to the night watchman, Tom Bailey, who defends, and the ball trickles away in towards the leg side. So 5 wickets required for a Glamorgan victory here. There are 247 runs needed should Lancashire win. Or, of course, there's the chance to bat through the day if they can and try and see if they can earn a draw. As Bailey gets onto the front foot, and this ball deflects off the pad, and there's no run. So that's the equation for the next few hours. As Calloway comes in and bowls again, and there's no ball actually, as that's pushed away into the offside off the back foot by Tom Bailey, and he comes back for a couple of runs. So he's the night watchman, Tom Bailey, coming out at the back end of yesterday to replace Matthew Hurst, who was dismissed. Glamorgan picking up a couple of wickets at the back end of that third day, including the Centurion Luke Wells, who's pretty powerful innings, blistering start, quick fire century, all that type of thing, giving Lancashire a sniff as Bailey gets on the front foot again, and it finds its way down towards Colin Ingram, who's at slip, and there's no addition to the score. So Lancashire still got George Balderson, Chris Green, Tom Hartley and James Anderson to come. 5 wickets required for Glamorgan as Calloway's in and bowls. Forward goes Bailey and defends, and there is no run. Of course, at the other end is Marcus Harris for Lancashire. Let's see how long Tom Bailey can frustrate Glamorgan here. 2 balls left to this opening over of the final day. Calloway in to Bailey, again forward. Deflects it down in towards the onside, and Asa Tribe under the helmet at short leg fields. And there is no run. Might be slightly slippy, a little greasy, the surface, and Calloway has a little towel hooked into the back of his trousers. Bailey goes back and just dabs this one back down the pitch. And that is the end of the first over of this final day. 2:30 for 5. Scott Reed, Callum Flynn and Nick Webb with you on this final day. And yeah, we're underway eventually, after a little delay.
Eventually, as Manuel said, in Faulty Towers, with many vowels involved. Run rate required, I believe, has risen over 3, because I'm not sure whether that figure on your screen, if you're watching on Lancs TV, has been recalculated off the loss of 20 overs. shouldn't matter, but it may just come into play should Lancashire be inching towards their target. There's been no evidence so far that they will be inching towards a target because they've gone at it pretty hard, certainly in the form of Wells. But he is no longer able to influence proceedings, and Asitha Fernando will do his best to do so.
Yeah, Wells 102 yesterday from 117 deliveries, 12 fours and 4 sixes.
It was quite a brutal innings.
It was.
4 sixes, including one to bring up his century, but dismissed, caught and bowled by Harris shortly afterwards. As don't you love cricket? They're fussing about, I think, some people sitting way over the sight screen and to the left of the sight screen at the Anderson end. Obviously, someone was wearing too bright a T-shirt, or they were standing up momentarily. Anyway, Fernando is in to bowl to Harris, who forces it through the offside. Crane is giving chase, but won't pick it out, despite the outfield having been slowed somewhat by that morning shower. And the first boundary of the morning takes Lancashire on to 234 for 5. They're almost halfway to their target. They still have half their wickets left. And this is not a hugely attacking field for Fernando at the moment, with just the one slip. Mid-wicket is on the drive in a catching position as Fernando steams in and bowls, and it is Tribe at mid-wicket who has to do the fielding.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Wells batted yesterday was great fun to watch, and it was, as you described it, Nick, a pretty brutal innings. It felt like maybe Lancashire were coming into this fourth and final day needing something less than 250 with 6 wickets remaining. Ideally, obviously, 7 when Wells is batting, but it just felt like that those 2 wickets, the Hurst one especially, has just pushed that possibility away from Lancashire, but they still have half a chance, of course.
Fernando in bowls, and Harris forces nicely through the offside. That one's running away for 4 more as well. So Lancashire starting off as though they mean business. We've had 12 runs already in the first 9 legitimate deliveries of the day's play, and they are certainly going for it.
And as you say, Luke Wells last night, was speaking to him on in the interview at the close of play, was really upbeat, especially with, as he said, they viewed it yesterday coming out to try and get 473 as a run chase, and that was reflected by the fact that they opened with Phil Salton and the way that Wells went about it, and he was still of the impression that they're a partnership away from being right back in with a chance.
Fernando in to Harris, who plays another one through the offside. This time Crane, a sweeper, will collect, and they go through for just the single. The return from Crane was just tossed underarm to the nearest fielder, Carlson. Whether that is a result of Crane not wanting to exert his shoulder more than necessary, which is understandable as a bowler, or Glamorgan having just the over 8 in the back of their minds. It's level at the moment, but they haven't got any time to waste, as the night watchman Bailey is greeted by a short leg, and Fernando is in to bowl, and Bailey pushes forward, and the ball dribbles out to Harris at cover, and there's no run. Fernando, well, you're certainly in no doubt about his levels of effort. He's shortish for a fast bowler, around the 5'10" mark. Broad across the shoulders, and comes charging in like a steam train.
Well, he got a big wicket yesterday. They went back to Fernando because Wells and Bohannon were batting really nicely together. And it was a partnership that they had to break, and they turned to Fernando, and he managed to find a way.
And he comes bowls, and Bailey slightly hurried into his defensive prod, but deals with it comfortably enough as the sun now illuminates Old Trafford, although having said which, there is, I think, a little bit of darker cloud arriving if I'm looking in the correct direction for the weather.
Yep, pretty much that's where it tends to come from, and the radar suggests that we might get the odd little band that might catch us, or some might miss us. Said that it doesn't look like at any point today there's like a set period where it's going to rain for quite a long period of time. It just might be the odd fleeting shower that will catch us, or maybe not. Maybe they'll skirt around and will miss us.
So, can Glamorgan winkle out one or two before lunch, ideally? One, at least.
Yeah, and ideally they want this man who's on strike now, as Marcus Harris plays a forward defensive. I guess if Harris can stay around here and bat for a long period of time, and others can contribute around him, there's still plenty to come for Lancashire with Balderson, Green and Hartley. No ball there by Ben Kellaway. Been a few from the spinners in this match. Just overstepping, the off-spinner.
I'll have to keep an eye on him. Is he overstepping or going wide?
Ooh, okay. Let's have a look at that. Well, he's just marking out where he's...
Suggests he's overstepping.
Yeah. Scraped his spikes on the grass as to where he starts his approach. Oh, that's off a leading edge as Harris tries to work it into the onside. Ball bounce in front of Colin Ingram, who's at slip. In fact, as a result of that, Sam North East decides he wants to strengthen that offside. So a couple of slips in place. North East was at short, straight mid-wicket, and he goes to backward point, and there's two slips now. Kellaway to Harris. It's nudged away off the inner half of the bat, out towards square leg for a single. Harris on to 34, 242 for 5. Brings Tom Bailey on strike. See, I guess Harris is the potentially the key, isn't it? If he can get himself in.
You'd have thought so, although there's Green, of course, with his recent runs.
Kellaway balls to Bailey, goes back in defence. Yes, well, he's had a fabulous couple of weeks in Championship cricket. Back-to-back centuries for Lancashire. Last week against Gloucestershire and the previous round against Derbyshire. 242 for 5. Kellaway to Bailey. Lunging right forward and seeing the ball bounce away towards the offside.
This is what Glamorgan want to see, isn't it? Defensive prods with fielders around the bat, and now they're signalling for an extra helmet so that they can have a silly point as well as a short leg. Taking time to settle on this field, Glamorgan, and really it happens at all levels of cricket, as Ned Leonard is handed an extra helmet to run on. But one shot and captains change their minds and change fielders round, and the likelihood of the next shot going there is not significantly increased by that shot having gone there.
Oh, it's Kieran Carlson who's in at silly point. Slip, a leg slip and a short leg. Kellaway to Bailey, appealing for LBW there. Kellaway as Bailey tries to go back and whip it away towards the leg side. Maybe a little high. It seemed to hit him quite high up.
Yeah, that was an ugly shot, really, playing across the line, and probably height was the issue. Though you do see those given sometimes on the grounds that umpires are less than impressed by an ugly shot.
End of the over, 242 for 5. Yeah, we've got this session of about 35 minutes until the lunch break. 242 for 5.
Yes. Paul Pinger on X says draw coming. Little early for the pessimism to come out from Welsh supporters, but it's always lurking there.
Close inspection of the ball here between Sam North East, San, Fernando. All three have had a little close eye on that. So whilst before there's a second new ball available for Glamorgan, it will be well into the afternoon session.
Fernando bowls, and Harris is forward playing up to mid-off, and there is no run. Quite bright at the moment. There we are. The chirp is there, as you might expect. There's Fernando at the back of his mark, next to a big pile of sawdust. Up towards the old pavilion, the Anderson end. And that is played comfortably on the leg side.
Yeah, on the roof of that pavilion we consider 2 flagpoles, and the flags are quite still. Not a lot of breeze around. So they had a couple of really windy days. First 2 or 3 days of the game, but pretty still day today so far. But it is brighter. I guess Glamorgan do need to keep one eye on that over rate. See, they're level at the minute, so that's all right, but there'll be a little degree of pressure just to keep this going on at a reasonably good pace.
On his way is Fernando. No slip for Harris, and bowls a short ball outside off stump that Harris just draws gently away from. The man on the drive on the leg side is the only catching fielder at the moment. Square leg is out on the rope in front of the new bit of the hotel. Opened by Jimmy Anderson. Close to the bar, named Jimmy's. Can't get away from him. Big picture of him at the front of the hotel. What are they going to do when he retires? They're going to get him to stand there in person all day. Here's Fernando in to Harris, who works it on the leg side to mid-on, and there's no run. So 16 runs added this morning. We got underway at 12:15 if you're just joining us on BBC Sounds, BBC Sport Online, Lancs TV. Lancs TV viewers got far too much of me at the start of play. I seemed to be on camera for about 5 minutes.
Well, I think they're admiring your shirt.
After you ran away. Yes. As Fernando's round the wicket to the left-hander and inside edge onto pad. It looked like a howl of frustration from Glamorgan, and Fernando wondering how close he came to sneaking that one through Marcus Harris's. Actually, was it boot first? Anyway, didn't follow through with their appeal. And Glamorgan's fielders spread reasonably far and wide. As I say, square leg, fine leg, point all out on the ropes. As Fernando bowls, and that's edge down to third man for 4. There is a third man down beneath us, whom I hadn't spotted, but that went fine of him, and it's raced away for 4. Harris looking to cut. Got it rather finer than he thought, but they all count. 246 for 5. And a mere 227 runs needed to win for Lancashire, with still 70-odd overs remaining of this game. Callum Flynn, very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It's been a steady start for Lancashire this morning. Harris, couple of boundaries. Bailey as a night watchman, trying to hang around as much as possible, which will extend Lancashire's depth in batting throughout the day. And I'll give Lancashire hold. Bailey, who's on the sweep. There's an appeal for LBW at first, and then it goes on to court at Silly Point. The umpire keeps the finger down. Yeah, so the first appeal was LBW, which Lancs TV viewers will be seeing now, maybe just outside the line. And then it's a brilliant catch at Silly Point. There was a double appeal, but no avail for Glamorgan. Callaway in, some nice turn, which Bailey steers into the leg side, gets a single. Very close on both.
Yeah, might have been just a little bit too much going at too much turn almost for umpire Milnes to be absolutely certain of things. It was close, it was marginal as to whether it was in line, and maybe it might have been turning just a bit too much.
Callaway round the wicket into Harris, who's on the paddle sweep. There's an LBW appeal again. Maybe going on with the angle. Maybe a little bit of glove involved. It looked pretty tight. Just creating a little bit of something here as Callaway to the Lancashire pair. Is in, bowls, and Harris playing it back down to the bowler for no run.
Might be time to bring out a left arm delivery or two for Ben Callaway.
Yeah, into the pads of Harris, bring that short leg into play, especially with the spin that he's getting. Harris down the track, and that's a beautiful shot. Just a couple of steps down the pitch, meets on the half volley. Hasn't done anything wrong there as Callaway. A beautiful shot from Harris down the ground for 6.
Well, Harris deciding that he has to try and change the narrative a bit and break out of the picture of men crowded round the bat. Appeals for everything, and that brings up the 250 for Lancashire. 253 for 5.
It takes Harris into the 40s as well. 44 of 75 so far. Callaway in, and Harris driving through the offside. Might think about a couple. No, they stay at 1. Yeah, it's might have gone for 6, but Callaway will be thinking he's produced. He's made Harris do something a little bit different, dancing down the track with the spin he's getting as well. Brings the keeper into play, brings the stumping into play, so some positives there for Glamorgan.
Yeah, a couple of decent LBW shouts in the morning, and if Callaway can beat the bat twice in an over, then he'll be happy with the way things are going for Glamorgan. But they need 1 by lunch, I think, to just change the feel of this match, which is 25 minutes away. No change in the intervals, despite the delay of an hour and a half in an hour and a quarter, rather, in play starting this morning. Here comes Fernando. They now do have a slip in for Marcus Harris. And Fernando round the wicket, and Harris hits it back past him. There's a sprawling half stop from northeast at mid-off, sends the ball ricocheting towards Ul Hassan at mid-on, and there is no run. So blue sky overhead at the moment. Again, the possibility of some cloud arriving in the next half hour or so, but hopefully if there is any rain, it'll be over the lunch interval. 254 for 5 in this intriguing championship match, as Fernando bowls and Harris hooks and gets a single down to Leonard at fine leg. Looked as though Lancashire were almost out of it at when they were bowled out for 137, a dramatic collapse from the home side against Mason Crane. And then Glamorgan had things really all their own way for a long period of the visitors' second innings, as North East and Carlson put together that double century stand, and they only really lost wickets at the end because they were looking to hit out and increase the scoring rate, and Glamorgan could easily have taken the target over 500, but wanted to give themselves plenty of time. Fernando bowls, and Bailey edges and will get runs down to third man, and that's gone for 4 as well, despite the sprawling attempt by Leonard underneath us here at the Statham end. And Lancashire are ticking along ominously as far as the Glamorgan cause is concerned. The boundaries certainly are coming in this little period of play this morning.
53 partnership as well for Bailey and Harris off 70 balls, so still a decent rate. Bailey 16 off 35. Did his job last night as the night watchman, getting through the day's play.
Is on his way in is Fernando over the wicket, bowled him. Bailey's gone. Stump knocked out of the ground. Breakthrough Glamorgan needed in this fourth morning session. 259 for 6, and that was just a question of pace against a lower order batter.
Yeah, it's an absolute beauty from the Sri Lankan Fernando. He's gone back of a length quite a bit this morning. Just a little bit of shape in as well. Maybe a little bit of reverse swing coming into play with this Kookaburra ball. But it's a beautiful delivery. Yorker length, straight through the defences of Tom Bailey. Maybe beating him for pace, expecting a shorter length delivery.
He was a bit late on it, wasn't he?
Yeah, knocks that off stump out.
And that is why you pay for international quality from an overseas bowler. Useful little partnership, though, of 53. Just doing the maths, if Lancashire get 53 for each wicket now, they'll be losing by 1 run, or thereabouts. They'll be pretty much on around their target anyway, as, well, we're going to get double Aussie as the tall figure of Chris Green arrives at the wicket. The short form international for I would say his native country, but it's not, because he was born in South Africa. So he was caught and bowled by Mason Crane for just a couple of runs in the first innings, part of that that collapse in the Lancashire first innings. As Glamorgan now post a short leg as well as a slip for the new man. And he's forward playing that one out on the onside. I think he came in after Balderson in the first innings, didn't he? So a slight change in the batting order again.
Yeah, it could be a couple of things. Green's got a lot of confidence with the bat, coming off a couple of hundreds recently, last week at Cheltenham, a brilliant innings. But also maybe that Lancashire didn't want 2 left-handers in against the spin of Kellaway. Maybe that left-hand, right-hand combination can just try and put Kellaway off his line and lengths a little bit. Maybe that's the logic that Croft and Lancashire are thinking.
Good thinking. Fernando bowls and goes for another Yorker that Green digs out and plays to northeast at mid-on. It is the end of Fernando's successful over. He now has 2 for 44 off his 12 overs, and Lancashire at 259 for 6, requiring a further 214 to win.
Yeah, not short of left-handers. This Lancashire order with Jennings, Wells, Harris, Hartley, Balderson.
So if they get 53 for each wicket, as they did for that, then Glamorgan will win by 1. And it'll be
a thriller.
A very memorable game indeed.
That would be a thriller. Kellaway to continue. Round the wicket to Harris, who 1 slip, silly point, short leg, around the bat. In he comes, full of a length. Harris prodding forward, playing it back towards the bowler for no run. Just a deep point, deep square, and just a floating mid-off, tempting Harris to go over the top. Kellaway in, and Harris on the drive, straight into the pads of Silly Point. Stops any runs. Brave position, isn't it? In front of the bat on the offside. Kellaway in, back of a length, and Harris plays nicely. through the point region, but some outstanding fielding. Cuts off a couple of runs.
Yeah, Glamorgan chirp levels have risen noticeably since Fernando made the breakthrough.
It's always good after a wicket. Some energy in the field as Harris rocks on the back foot, punching out to the deep point boundary for a single. Energy levels are up. Some nice bits of fielding as well. It can just bring about a wicket, bring about some frustration for the opposition team. And we'll see another catcher go in now for the new bat, Chris Green. Going to be a slip, leg slip, silly point and a short leg.
It's one of my favourite attacking fields. 4 at all points of the compass round the bat.
Kellaway in. And Chris Green being positive straight away on the slog sweep. Doesn't quite connect. Gets a single out to the deep point, deep square boundary.
Well, Acer Tribe might not fancy seeing that, but I think Glamorgan won't be too unhappy as a whole to see a new man trying to sweep straight away.
Yeah, I think for a right-hander that'll be the safest aggressive option for with the spin coming into the bat as Harris prods forward, plays it into the offside, doesn't hit the gap. It's the end of the over, 261 for 6, Lancashire. Green on 1, Harris 47. Batted well so far this morning.
Yeah, in terms of close finishes, I'm not sure that anything can quite beat the finish that Glamorgan had at Cheltenham last year when the match was tied off the final available ball of the last day. So it wasn't just a tied match. The match would have ended on that delivery, whatever had happened. And
was that the Bracey
yeah,
catch?
The Bracey catch to dismiss McIlroy off the bowling of Singdale. As Fernando bowls, and that's driven by Green to mid-on. It's quite astounding since Bracey took the catch off the edge in without a wicket-keeping glove on that hand. He'd taken his wicket-keeping glove off so that he could try and throw down the stumps if the batter missed and they tried to run a bye. It's quite the scenes at Cheltenham last year. Sadly, soggy scenes at Cheltenham this year. And you do very much hope that, as a lover of the game, that the Cheltenham Festival can continue in some sort of form, even if there is a reduction in the amount of county cricket, county championship cricket, that is. Fernando is in to bowl. Oh, that's a poor bouncer, really, to Green. Might have been called wide. It isn't. But it posed no danger at all to Green, unless he'd taken on a hook shot there.
Yeah, square leg had just gone out as well. An extra fielder from the offside had come over to the leg side, I think. Obviously that was a bouncer, but the ball before Fernando's attacking the stumps. Maybe there's a little bit of movement back in, maybe a little bit of reverse swing coming in with this Kookaburra ball with the leg side field set.
Fernando bowls down leg side, well taken by Chris Cook, and the backwards flick to Colin Ingram to make sure that he's awake as well at slip. Something that we see frequently from Chris Cook going down the leg side. It's also useful, of course, in terms of making sure the ball doesn't go too far down the leg side with the keeper taking it and the umpire might be thinking about a wide. So
get rid of it quickly.
Get rid of it, yep. Shout well bowled at the same time. As Fernando is on his way to bowl to Green, who's forward defensively. Ben Duckett has gone caught behind after England put on 92 for the first wicket. caught off the bowling of Deep, and that was 92 in the 13th over. Just like that sink in. It's remarkable. The change in tempo of Test cricket, certainly as far as England are concerned. India were 224 all out, by the way. As Fernando is in bowls, Green up on his toes to defend well a short delivery. Of course, there are video clip highlights on the BBC Sport website, and there'll be full highlights on iPlayer and on one of the TV channels this evening. And of course, there'll be extensive coverage of the 100 to come over the months to come, on the BBC. Audio and a fair smattering of games on telly, with, we're told, a stellar array of expertise, which includes the man to the right of me, Mr. Callum Flynn of the England Disability side.
I don't know who's wrote that one.
As Fernando bowls, oh, that's driven by Green. It's just gone past northeast at short mid wicket. I think it was on the bounce. Hit into the ground. It's raced away for 4 anyway. And well, Lancashire keep on fighting. 265 for 6. They need a further 108 runs to win. And Scott Reed will rejoin Callum for the last 12 minutes of this morning's session.
Yeah, driven nicely by Chris Green. Looks like there's some shape there for Fernando back into the right-hander, the way he dismissed Tom Bailey. Very similar, and they've got like a clear attacking leg side field with 2 catching mid wickets, a short leg and a deep square leg as well for the short ball, just to keep Chris Green respectable. Yeah, so I think that could be the plan for Fernando at the other end. But it's a lovely on drive from Chris Green, his first boundary, taking Lancashire on to 265 for 6, as Callaway will continue to Harris, who just turns it off his legs, takes the single into the leg side. A dominant offside field to the left-handed Australian.
Another positive move, isn't it, by Lancashire? Chris Green coming in, I suppose. I mean, he's in obviously fabulous form. He's had back-to-back centuries, so he's batting really well. Kind of keeps left hand, right hand out there in the middle as well.
Yeah, and he'll certainly take on the spin, won't he? He's an aggressive batter as he plays from the crease into the offside for no run.
And Lancashire have got to keep pushing to try and get these runs. I mean, they need to win the game, really, don't they, to keep up with Glamorgan, who are currently second.
Callaway in, over-pitched, as Chris Green slashes that through the offside, and he's going to pick up another boundary. 2 boundaries in quick succession for Green.
I think there's a lot to admire with the way that Lancashire have managed to try and turn their season around after that first couple of months. The last 3 games have been a really positive response by Lancashire. They've won a couple, drawn 1.
Callaway in, and Chris Green on the sweep. It's an LBW appeal, and then it's got up for the court as well. Looks like he's either got an edge or some kind of glove on that onto his pad. It spoons up, and the silly point takes a very simple catch. Chris Green looking to be positive, but sadly it comes with his wicket. That's a 7th for Glamorgan. 3 wickets away from victory now.
Yeah, I think Lancashire, no criticism with regards to the way they're trying to play. They've got to try and be positive, haven't they? Green's been sent out to try and be positive. Certainly against the spinners. And that, in the end, a pretty routine catch by Kieran Carlson. A couple of wickets, Night Watchman's gone, Green's gone. He can be a really dangerous player, so Glamorgan prizing a couple out just on the eve of the lunch break. Look, I think Glamorgan are in obviously a really strong position now to go and win this game, and would deserve to win it. Lancashire's first innings score is what's going to ultimately cost them in this match, but I think they've tried to apply themselves in a really positive manner in this fourth innings of the game, their second innings of the match, and that I guess is all you can really ask for when you mess it up really in the first innings.
Yeah, I think definitely. You know, whatever the result will be for Lancashire, there's been some clear positive intent, hasn't there? There's, you know, Luke Wells came out, batted the way he did in a fourth innings chase of 473. The ball was doing a little bit, it was turning, you know, and the way he played and the way Harris is playing now, even the intent of Josh Bohannon. Okay, he only got late teens, 20s, but it's just that clear intent of, you know what, we're gonna be positive. We're gonna try and look to take the positive option, because it looks like with what the wicket's producing and a little bit of turn, if you try and bat, one of them's going to have your name on it at some stage. So try and take the game to the opposition and force a change, whether it's in their line and lengths or whether it's in a bowling change, and try and turn it in your favour that way. Is Balderson facing his first delivery. Two left-handers in now, the perfect scenario for Kellaway, spinning it away from the ball, bringing the outside edge into play. Two slips, silly point, short leg. Here's where they'll look to try and tighten the screw as that one just goes on with the arm. A lead from Balderson, fews and ahs from the close fielders of Glamorgan. 270 for 7 Lancashire. Needing another 203 for victory. And just the 3 wickets for Glamorgan for what will be a very important victory, with the looks of the other results around the grounds, around the country.
Yeah, but stonking win this for Glamorgan. They're not playing in the game at Cheltenham between Gloucestershire and Middlesex. They've not played much in that game because of rain around. They're not playing between Northamptonshire and Derbyshire. Again, that's been delayed. So there's the possibility of draws elsewhere, which would mean if Glamorgan do take these 3 more wickets and win the match, it's a pretty sizable victory when others below them are being held to draws, either because of conditions or because of rain. So yeah, 3 more wickets is a big moment for Glamorgan. But on top really since Mosling Lancashire out for 140 in the first innings, and they're very much on top here. Mason Crane in and bowling to Marcus Harris. That's chipped out towards the leg side. And there's no run. So Fernando's opening spell comes to an end. 4 overs, 1 for 22. He bowled full and straight and quick to Bailey and got the breakthrough of the night watchman. He has a breather and Crane comes in for the first time. Let's push back beyond him by Harris, gathered by Ned Leonard, who comes round from mid on to field, and there is no run. Harris, meanwhile, just slowly getting on with things in his way. He's on 48. And Crane comes from around the wicket and bowl, and that's turned to leg slip, I think, or at least Glamorgan reckon he has done. There's a strong appeal by Crane and by the slip fielders. Umpire says not out.
Yeah, it looks like it might have come off the fire guard or the pad.
Oh, yeah. He's not very close to that, is he, in the end, on replay? Nudged away towards the leg side by Harris.
Just never looks phased, does he, Marcus Harris? You look at him and he just always looks very calm, very relaxed. Even when everyone's going up around him, it's just still the same. Very chilled demeanour.
270 for 7. Crane to Harris, down the pitch. He's lifted it out towards the leg side, up towards the wide long on boundary. Leonard will catch up with it. Harris will come back for 2, and he's put together a fine half century there for his team. Marcus Harris, a very low-key acknowledgement, because it might well be in a losing cause, but nonetheless it's a fine 50 for Harris, who's back in the runs for Lancashire. 50 from 89 balls, 6 fours and 1 6. Final ball of the over. Crane to Harris. Fuller ball by Crane, and Harris digs it out, pushed back towards the bowler, and that is the end of the over. We'll take a look at some of the highlights of the Harris innings for our Lancashire TV viewers. Played nicely, Callum, hasn't he?
Yeah, he got going as well this morning, didn't he? Fernando kind of going back of a length to Harris and to an Australian back of a length on this kind of wicket. It's kind of bread and butter for someone of Marcus Harris's quality. Tucked into a couple of boundaries. He's batted really well. He has done all season for Lancashire in that middle order. He's offered a lot of calmness and a lot of runs as well. Callaway to continue to Balderson, who yorks him, and they do go up for the appeal just in case it's hit the pad first, but I think it's straight onto the bat, no pads. It'd be interesting to see the type of tempo that Balderson will look to bat at as he prods forward and plays that into the offside. He's not known for taking it on too much, more of an accumulator of runs. Naturally, he's an opener. It's Callaway in, round the wicket. Balderson playing forward, covering up.
Yeah, and of course, George Balderson will go about it in whatever way he wants to go about it in this innings. Green was being quite positive.
Callaway in. Balderson playing forward.
And batters find what works for them, don't they? Which is absolutely fine.
Callaway 2 slips. A wait. Balderson driving through the onside. Doesn't time it well enough to pick up any runs. Callaway offering a little bit more whiff. Balderson plays it nicely through the offside, but hits the cover fielder. It's a maiden from Callaway. 272 for 7 Lancashire. Requiring 201 more runs for victory.
Luke Wells saying last night that he felt that was the best way for him to play. I think he touched on what you said there before about if you just try and block it and defend. Certainly he felt yesterday that was probably the more risky option than trying to be positive and take the spinners on, but everyone finds a way of doing it that works for them.
Yeah, and that just comes natural to Luke Wells, doesn't it? He's that kind of player.
Crane to Harris. It's a lovely shot. Just pushed it back beyond Mason Crane with little effort, and hurries back for 2 more. Stroked away past Crane. Harris moves on to 52. This will be the final over of the afternoon. There is horrible looking darker clouds out in the distance. I don't know whether that's coming our way or not, but they don't look particularly pleasant. 274 for 7. Crane getting around the wicket. Spins away. It's one of those footmarks and darts beyond the reach of the keeper. He sticks out his glove. Chris Cook.
Yeah, the clouds have started to gather in, haven't they? Might not be at a bad time for Glamorgan while lunch is on. Try and get it out the way. That's what Glamorgan will be thinking.
Crane to Harris. That spins back in towards him. Just nudges into the onside. It's hard to tell which way the breeze is blowing today. There's a very gentle breeze, which would suggest that maybe what we can see out in the distance isn't heading in our direction, but there's not too much of a wind around to give us a clear indication as to whether that's coming our way or not. Nudged away by Harris for no run.
Looks like it could be raining around Earlham Way anyway, from the looks of that.
Just a bit bleak in the distance, yeah. God, it was bleak this morning. At 11 o'clock, we had the floodlights on and it was gloomy and rainy. It looked like April.
Like September or April, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely did. It's turned into the ground by Harris. Fielded at short leg. And there's no run. 1 ball remaining of the morning. It's only a little 45-minute session, this, for Lancashire, and Glamorgan have prized out a couple of wickets. Have got rid of the night watchman, Tom Bailey, and Chris Green as well. They are 3 wickets away from victory. Yes, Harris continues to offer some stubborn resistance for Lancashire, and he'll get back underway after lunch on 52. Balderson on 0, 274 for 7. So 3 away, Glamorgan, for a 45-minute little session. Callum, just to round up, that was a pretty decent one for the away side.
Yeah, it certainly was. 2 wickets, 3 more to go for Glamorgan for victory. Lancashire still scoring at a healthy rate. Boundaries are still coming. Lancashire is still showing a positive intent. They're not just trying to stick around. Lancashire would need a victory as well, just to keep in them sort of spots for battling for promotion. 3 games of the county championship season in September after the Metro Bank One Day Cup, so it will be a positive result for Lancashire as well, just to keep in touch with the likes of Glamorgan and Leicestershire. But for whoever gets a victory here, whoever gets a positive result, it'll be super positive as well, because of the looks of the results around the ground with the weather. Looking like some games could end in draws, but for now, Lancashire 274 for 7. Glamorgan needing 3 wickets for a very good victory, and Lancashire needing 199 runs. And we'll see you soon after the lunch break.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
Hello and welcome along to another edition of Beyond the Boundary. This week I've got with me a man who's no stranger to Emirates Old Trafford, former Director of Cricket here at Lancashire. It's Ashley Giles. Ashley, good day to you, and it's really good that you've taken time out to come and say hello to us. Do you still have good feelings about the old place?
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to come back to Emirates Old Trafford, to Lancashire. Actually, my wife and I often talk about my time here, which is only 2 years, but 2 really important years in my career. But my wife, Stina, always comments that I was incredibly well looked after here, really well looked after and welcomed by everyone at the club. So really fond memories, of working with everyone from, you guys who were on the board, right through all the coaching staff and the players. And it was also a great privilege. It's a fabulous ground, fabulous history. And I feel really privileged, as I say, to have worked with 2 of the biggest clubs in the country in Warwickshire and Lancashire. Yeah,
I mean, your time here came after a spell with England as one-day international coach. And I think at the time you were very much of the mind that you didn't want to just coach. You wanted to try and step up and move into a sort of directorship type role. Would that be true?
Absolutely, yeah, spot on. And at the same time, I started a master's course, a degree course in sport directorship here in Manchester. I've always wanted to sort of broaden my horizons or push my boundaries as to what I could do and my experiences. I love coaching. I still love coaching. And in many ways, that's the bit I missed and miss, is that one-to-one connection you get with a player on sort of taking him on that journey from A to B, or a team from A to B. Clearly, when you make that step to directorship, you are slightly more removed, and you've got to be more removed because your role is different. It's more strategic. It's more broad. But and Lancashire was certainly a good learning curve for that for me, because I was both coach and also stepping into the boardroom.
I was going to say that it was an important step for you because you were ostensibly still doing a fair amount of coaching. So there was still that one-to-one and team liaison type role. And I think you probably, I don't think you'd be exaggerating to say that you laid the foundations along with Glenn Chappell of this current squad. Although you look back to 2015, there are very few players that played in the T20 final that are still here now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did see it was important transition years, I think, for Lancashire, and we both worked through that in in bringing some of these young players through, giving them opportunities, as well as making sure you looked after those very solid citizens you have in a dressing room, and some of them are still playing. I mean, Crofty's still out there, which is extraordinary.
It is.
You know, great credit to him as
and playing as well as ever this
Absolutely.
Summer.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that, and actually when I look back, because my first role at Warwickshire was both sort of coach and director, and that was a similar role to I had here. And in many ways, they're the most enjoyable because you get the best of both. It's very challenging, and in the modern world, with the amount of cricket we're playing in the different competitions, very difficult. But I did enjoy that role.
And when you were in that role, and at that time, we're going back 7-8 years now, how important was it to you to develop the next layer of talent, if you like, to look at the way the academy and the age group structure was set up?
Yeah, it always has been, and was, and is still. I think that's the fundamental bit of our cricket, both our clubs and internationally. We've got to be, in an ideal world, looking at a strategy that's long term, that's sustainable over a long period. And I've always tried to, and probably maybe sometimes to my detriment, move away from quick fixes and winning tomorrow. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to be aware of that. It's still not always possible. But I've always wanted to, I'd rather build over years than months, because I think that's better from a sort of legacy piece, to leave something behind. Even if when you're gone, that structure remains and grows. And hopefully Lancashire's got a bit of that. I hope. And I certainly think, looking at the Warwickshire squad as well, that I went back to, I suppose what we did, myself and Jim Troughton, and then now Paul Farbrace coming in, have built a squad that has had success and hopefully will over a long period.
Well, I think you're quite right with Warwickshire, but I think you're also right with that Lancashire have done that, and that it's been a club policy to develop academy and their own talent. And that's self-evident when you look at the sides that are playing now. But when you were in charge, I think probably the two standouts that came through in your time here were Liam Livingston and Hasib Hamid.
Yeah, and both fantastic players.
You you championed Liam a little bit, didn't you? You got him into the side, and batted him lower middle order initially,
and in a very different role. And Hass was is a different customer altogether. Yeah. But I hope one of the things I did, because Lancashire has got such a wide net of talent and available talent.
It's a huge area, isn't it?
A huge area.
The whole of the Northwest.
And there's a huge amount of talent that's always come through your academies and youth systems. It's almost creating the opportunity for that talent. And so I think Liam was a good example where, yes, when he first came in the side, he batted 7 and got runs. But I think in good sides or in mature sides, you allow yourself to do that, is to play a player that you might not be sure about, but actually it should be the senior players around him that pick up the slack. And if he does well, it's a bonus. But if he doesn't, he'll learn and he'll grow from that. But you're not expecting someone to come in and smash it up from ball one.
That's the ideal scenario, isn't it? To fit your 1 or 2 highly talented youngsters into a framework that contains some solid senior professionals.
Absolutely. That's the difference between mature and immature teams. It's not them as personalities, it's them as a group. The amount of cricket they've played. And my experiences, even going back as a player at Warwickshire in the early 90s, were exactly the same. That I was able to go into a team that had had success, that knew its game, and not feel the pressure of having to get 5 wickets every time I bowled or runs. But if I did, it was a bonus. But I was learning from the best as well. It was, I think they're the best environments to work in.
Plenty of commentators, the public, supporters say, well, you've got to give the youngsters a chance. But you can't give them all a chance at the same time, because that just leads to inexperience and not almost inevitably, but very often failure.
Absolutely. You can ruin them. You can burn youngsters, and getting that timing right. So sometimes you put people in. I think back then, even Saqib was another example who we played, but always with the mind, well, you might have to pull them out. It might not be quite ready, but you want to. I'd rather err on the side of giving them an opportunity to pull them back than never knowing, just sitting on the sidelines. But it's got to be in a controlled way that doesn't, as I say, and you said burn them.
Do you think our county system, from a county perspective, allows the development of talent to come through sufficiently? And I'm not necessarily pointing this towards England.
Yeah.
Whilst everybody probably admits that the county system is there to try and provide England players of the future, it would have to do that. Would be part of it, but it has to stand on its own 2 feet as well, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So,
and is it set up to do that now?
Well, if I just talk about that, I think you know, I always saw my role as a head coach, director of cricket, and I think you did as two-pronged. You know, you absolutely your responsibility to try and win things for that county. That's why you're there, and that's what you're being paid for. But we also have a responsibility to try and produce England cricketers, and you've got to try and move these two things along together, which isn't always possible. And there are times when the short-term pressures become really big. And so the choices between playing a young player, giving him opportunities, giving him time, perhaps, are somewhat conflicted by winning tomorrow. And I think many of the counties have faced that problem. Many of the directors of cricket have faced that problem. And in a system that has promotion, relegation, not saying that's right or wrong. We're not going to get into that debate, I don't think. But it can place those pressures.
Well, there are so many different variables and systems that are promoted, proposed, talked about in terms of divisional cricket for the county championship, whether it should be 3 6s, 10 and 8 as we've got now, or 12 and 6, or whatever. I mean, you can talk, and we've been talking about this in my lifetime in cricket, sort of 45 years, never come to perhaps a satisfactory conclusion. But having said that, you're probably ideally positioned now and placed, having spent enough time in the county game and having an elevated position in England, within the England setup, to realise that there is always going to be a bit of a conflict between county and England.
Always.
And I'm not sure how you can get over that.
Well, yeah, and I'm not sure, but I made the point during the winter, which I don't mind repeating, is that there's got to be, both sides have got to come together on this. There's got to be collaboration on what the best thing for the English game as a whole is. At the moment, I'm not sure those things are aligned. We're obviously playing a lot of cricket, a lot of different formats of cricket, and I think we've got to, I mean, ultimately for championship cricket, which is what we're here for, which I'm watching today, which is great, because we're watching two good teams on a good pitch at a great ground. You know, it's really, really going to be, it's tough cricket. I think we've got to find a way to play more championship cricket spread through the summer. You know, we, again, probably spend an hour or 2 hours working out how we might do that, but we've got to find a way to do that.
Well, I hear what you say, and I'm encouraged by the county cricket that I've seen already this summer. We've been blessed with a dryish April. And the only thing that I will say that you would perhaps need that we haven't had so far is a bit more pace in the pitches. I think the pitch has been pretty good generally, runs scored, and it's hard work for bowlers to take 20 wickets in a match.
Yeah.
So you've just said it. We're Lancashire, Warwickshire, 1 and 2 in the county championship last year on a test match pitch, basically. This is the sort of cricket that the selectors should be looking at and making decisions from, in my view.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. This feels to me to be the top, and this wouldn't be the only game in the country, but this is the sort of top end of cricket. I think your point around pitches is a good one, the pacing pitches. And I think if we spread 4-day cricket throughout the summer a bit more, we'd have more variance or variation in that, and you probably have more pace later in the year. There's no doubt the weather actually in April is pretty good.
Generally.
It's generally pretty good. And we've got some very good groundsmen who can prepare very good pitches. But they're still going to lack some pace at this. You know, you'd have to be a magician to get them rock hard and flying through at this point. And we know, well, what you want to do is play on varying pitches in varying conditions. But at the very top end, you want some pace and some carry, and guys who can bend their backs being rewarded for doing that over long periods on generally good wickets, good surfaces.
If you had a magic wand, and you've already said we need to try and play more 4-day cricket in the summer, I think there are 5 games actually in June and July this year, which is not bad, better than it has been. But if you had a magic wand, would you continue with all forms of the game that there are now? I think it's a given that we've got to carry on with 100 because you know the amount of money and time and effort and marketing and that has gone into that. I think I'm answering my own question. I think T20 cricket's essential for the counties, and we've got to play 4-day cricket. So we've got to try and fit it all in.
Absolutely.
And that's the eternal question.
It is, and then 50-over cricket. You know, we've got a World Cup coming up next year. We're world champions, and whilst in this current generation it won't have such an impact, but if we're continuing to play World Cups that are 50 overs, and you know there is a chance some of the next generation of players won't even play 50-over cricket, and you know I know that the way we set up for our 50-over cricket, which is fantastic, is more suited to the shorter format anyway. But I suppose if I had a magic wand, what would I do? I'd still find a way to play a more consistent, championship cricket through the summer.
So blocks, basically.
But I would, and this is me talking, I would think about, how we could do the T20 slightly differently. It's a very good competition. The quality of cricket's good. But could we play that? I know it goes against this, what we moved to in not swapping formats all the time. But maybe a more appointment to view once a week, Friday or Saturday night.
Let's just make it clear here. There's no agenda in this discussion. This is Paul and Ashley having a chat. So it's personal views. It's interesting what you say about 50-over cricket, because one of your the finer achievements, I think, in recent years was to be head of England cricket when we won the World Cup in 2019. And you talk about 50-over cricket. I remember covering the 2015 World Cup out in Australia and New Zealand. And prior to that, it was thought and mooted that this might be the last World Cup of 50-over cricket.
Yeah.
And it was New Zealand coming along and McCullum playing the way he did and challenging the norms of 50-over that reinvigorated the game, which was great.
Yeah.
And that probably sparked England, because we'd been perennial failures from way back in the 70s. We'd never won it. So it's time we did, and we did. So basically, did that consume your thoughts in your England role at the time?
Well, year one, certainly. That was my first year in the job, was leading into the World Cup. And most of that preparation had been done by Strauss, Morgan, Bayliss leading into that. But I felt great pressure in getting that over the line. We went into that as favourites. There was a period through that tournament where we looked like we may not even make semi-finals. And so, my job then is almost just trying to support, pull everyone together, make sure we're staying on track, which I know, Owen Morgan and Owen's going to do. Trev was still very relaxed, but my job is to support.
He always appeared very relaxed, Trevor.
Yeah, incredible. And I think that sort of came to head before the India group game at Edgbaston, and I think the guys sat down and said, what are we worried about here? We know there's the expectation. We know we all have those personal worries about what might not happen, and we've been on that journey. Let's just play the way we've been playing and go out and and play with that confidence and in an aggressive way, and can't fault them. It's obviously a bit twitchy, and looking at strategy, you know, that strategy that was probably over 5 years in the making, or 4 years in the making, we still only won on the last ball of the tournament of a super over.
On a countback.
On a countback. So that's how tight it is. So that had to be the strategy. And but whatever, I guess, I'm not going to say too much about it. Whatever one hand gives, you lose something.
Well, I was going to come on to a more general point, really, about prioritising, whether you're in charge of a county or you're in charge of an international team. There is so much cricket played.
Yeah.
There are so many different tournaments, so many different series, so many different forms of the game, that the hardest thing, I think, must be to treat each game, match, series with equanimity.
Yeah.
It's impossible because you have to have a priority at some point.
Yeah, so firstly, from a county point of view, and this is just my experience again, would be to, we start every season with the high hopes, we challenge for everything. And then I think as the season ebbs and flows, sometimes you're surprised. So for us, when I was at Warwickshire, the 11 season, the way playing Championship cricket, finished runners-up to you guys, to Lancs, and then 1 in 12, was a bit of a surprise the way we took this uptick. But our white ball cricket dropped off. I think the way, us winning T20 in 15 here, we struggled through some of the group stages, but peaked at the right time. And then you sort of put your foot on the throat. With England, absolutely, we've had to, Test cricket, however we've played, whatever results have been like, has always been one of our priorities. It's just the conditions we faced on and off the field with COVID and everything else, and the opposition we faced on the field have been really challenging. But certainly in white ball cricket, after the 19 World Cup, we made the choice with 2 T20 World Cups coming up to make that switch to prioritise T20 cricket, to be able to challenge for a T20 World Cup or a World Cup. We knew we wanted to go into it as best in the world. So whereas I think when I came on, we were 3rd in the world in T20 cricket, 3rd or 4th. We got ourselves to number 1 in the world, got in a good position. Our 50 over went from 1st in the world to 2nd in the world, but that was a strategic decision that we didn't have a 50 over World Cup for a few years, focus on T20, and so we're happy with that. And, barring a couple of overs that went wrong in the UAE, we played some really good cricket in that World Cup and could have been double white ball champions. But so in that terms, there's a lot of thought goes into the prioritisation.
Do you think that in England we have this? It's a preoccupation, but do we have too much emphasis on Australia and the Ashes? Or is it right to do that?
It's clearly an emotional series, a very important series. And
you played in one of the best Ashes series of all time in 2005. And,
yeah, it has.
I played in 81.
Yeah.
So, both iconic series
amazing.
in a way.
And huge historical importance. But because of that, they almost become watershed moments. The fallout from the last series, again, we won't go into too much, but generally happens around World Cups and Ashes because they're deemed as the most important thing. There's emotion, there's the history, etc., etc. And now we live in an environment that is just craves 24-hour news, and sometimes there's got to be change. There's something's got to happen, but there is a lot of importance placed in those series. And I think going back to something we talked about just a minute ago, it's becoming more and more difficult, I think, in any sport, and cricket, and particularly county cricket, was probably immune from that a few years ago, to set your target about building long-term. I've got a 5-year plan. Well, you might not get 5 years. You've got to win next year.
Instant success.
Yeah. And that leads you to making some decisions that maybe you wouldn't in other cases.
It's an interesting point. I mean, the public demand success. Players want success. They're not in the game a long time, are they? You know, they don't want to be necessarily part of a side that's going to win in 5 years, because they might not be playing then.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult balancing act. Having said all that, you put yourself, I think, where you wanted to be. Your aim through your formative years at Warwickshire, then as an England one-day coach, and then with Lancashire, and then Warwickshire, you wanted to be at the top of the tree.
Yeah.
You won't have any regrets about that, even though things perhaps haven't worked out quite as well as you would have liked.
Absolutely. I've always set about what, you know, and again, where you look at where you've come from, your journey in cricket, all the things you've achieved. I look at mine. I still feel very privileged to have worked in the environments I've worked in and do the jobs I've done. And I wanted to work at that level, of course. The last 2 or 3 years have been the most challenging because of some of these circumstances we talked about, particularly with COVID, and challenging not just for me, but for everyone involved in that system, whether it be, you know, the board, chief exec level, the coaches, players, everyone. It's been incredibly challenging, and at the county level as well. But no regrets. I think you know, I'm sort of 3 months down the line of coming out of that role now. It's I've actually had a nice chance to reflect, and I feel fresher for it. You know, I think there's some challenging times ahead for everyone still, but it's I love cricket. It's, you know, it's an amazing environment to work in, but you know, we'll see what the future has in store.
So, having been at the top of the tree in terms of coaching director of cricket work, what does the future hold for Ashley Giles? Does he want to try and continue in that? Does he want to move into perhaps another sport, or would you be happy perhaps getting back to grassroots and saying, I'm just a coach now, I'd like to have another go at coaching?
Yeah, well, I think that's the process I'm still going through at the moment, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, I've got some time to do that thinking, but you know, when I reflect, I have done all of those roles. I've been a head coach, I've been a director of cricket, I've been the sort of national selector, I've been a one-day international coach, I've been the more director suit sort of role, and MD. So I have a lot of experience across cricket. Cricket is, well, the world's a massive place. The cricket world's quite small. You know, it's the sort of, it always reminds me of going to Lord's for the Test match. You always see the same faces, don't you? The same characters wherever you turn. That's what the cricket world's a bit like. So the moment, you know, I certainly haven't fallen out of love with cricket. As I just said, I love cricket. So it could be cricket, could be going into form management, coaching. I'm pretty much open at the moment, but you know, I'm also open to looking outside the box and working across sports, across countries, because ultimately the things we work with, Walt, are, you know, the fundamental thing is good people, structures, strategy, but I think the people thing's the most important thing. You get the right people around you, you've got a chance.
Ashley, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to chat to you for half an hour or so. We could probably have gone on for hours and hours and hours, but I'm glad to see you have come out of your England experience okay, and you're looking refreshed. And who knows what the future holds.
Thank you very much.
So thanks, Ashley, and we'll see you again soon on Beyond the Boundary.
Two names rich in history, Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Two names rich in history, Bartons, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Bartons has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Bartons is here to make every moment one to savour. Keep an eye out for some familiar brands such as Guinness, Celavino, VK Hooch and Britvic. Bartons and Lancashire Cricket, partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
This is a call for hungry dreamers and hard-working self-believers. Success is down to more than just luck and talent. It's striving to be the best, breaking the boundaries and never giving up. Are you ready to become your best self? Are you ready to unlock your greatness? So what are you waiting for? This is Education Evolved. This is UA92.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
And that little bit of kind of very light rain, actually barely drizzled really, disappeared as quickly as it arrived. The hover cover was taken out just before lunch as a precaution, but nothing really too sinister happened. So conditions are good, and those threatening clouds that were with us just on the brink of lunch have blown through or blown away. So we're good to start the afternoon session. 2:47.47 is the Glamorgan, sorry, is the Lancashire score. So Glamorgan need 3 more wickets to clinch a victory here. Lancashire, well, they're 200 runs away from what at this point would be a pretty stellar win, and we've got left in the day 64 overs to go, so plenty of cricket left. And we're going to start off with some spin from the Brian Statham, and Ben Kellaway will get us underway. We'll hear from Nick Webb a little bit later on from BBC Wales, Callum Flynn and Scott Reed to get you into this afternoon session in what could be a really pivotal day in the Division 2 table, with the way that results are looking elsewhere. Here's Kellaway from around the wicket to Balderson, who plays a forward defensive. And there's no run. He's got a short leg, a silly point and a slip in place, so 3 catches around the bat. As Kellaway comes in past umpire Milnes, bowls off the back foot Balderson for no run. There's 3 close in on the offside. Backward point, short cover, mid-off. There's a deep point, there's a deep backward square leg. And doing some stretches at mid-on is Fernando, so maybe he's going to have a go from the Anderson end after the lunch break. Balderson just pulling away there, so a little bit of something catching his eye. He's on naught. Here is Kellaway. Spins the ball from one hand to the other and in and bowls, and it's turned away to the onside. Kieran Carlson's at short leg to field, and there is no run.
It's always brilliant how much movement there is behind a bowler's arms at cricket matches, isn't it? Oh, very strict and proper with the rules, but we'll keep making movement behind.
Kellaway to Balderson, that's run away through the offside. And there's no addition to the score. I think behind the bowler's arm from this end is Glamorgan's balcony. Yeah. So I think it's one of the Glamorgan
makes it even
boys.
more impressive.
Yeah. Someone's just getting into position to have a better view. Kellaway into Balderson forward in defence. So yeah, I think that's what's happening behind this end. Had a few issues from the other end as well. A couple of spectators in the pavilion were trying to find a seat this morning. The front foot goes Balderson to defend and be a maiden over to get the afternoon session underway. 274 for 7. Those 2 wickets to fall this morning. It was the night watchman, wasn't it? Tom Bailey, who was dismissed by Fernando for a second time in the match. Got him LBW in the first innings, bowled him for 16 in the second. And then Chris Green, looking to try and be quite positive against the spinner, went to sweep. Caught a little top edge and Carlson took the catch. And that's 2 wickets to fall in that morning session.
You're going to see spin from both ends as well. Mason Crane, the man who took most of the wickets for Glamorgan in the first innings.
Yeah, took 6 for only bowled 10.3 overs. 6 for 19 in the first dig.
Steady going.
Yeah, Green with 6 as well. In fact, Chris Green has taken 9 wickets in the match.
Yeah, declaration stopped him from a 10th foot as Crane starts with a full toss. Harris keeps it. He does well to keep it all along the carpet, all along the ground. He picks up a 4. Marcus Harris might have been having flashbacks from the first innings when that came down. Full toss. Get it on the ground as quickly as I can.
Maybe that's a tactical play from Mason Crane. Lob one up to begin with. It got him in the first innings.
He's done well not to be called a no ball as well.
Yeah, it was quite high, wasn't it?
Yeah. Looking at the replay. Just a loosener from Crane after lunch. He's in around the wicket to Harris. Harris meets it on the full this time, who dances down the track, takes a single to long on. He's not all the way back, he's still tempting Harris to go over the top. You'll see mid on and mid off come up to Balderson. Still a leg slip and a short leg. Just a deep square and a deep point. The 2-man out. Going to take the same approach to Balderson, who's on the sweep. Sweeps nicely. Sweeps with the spin. Takes a single down to the deep square boundary. Balderson off the mark.
Yeah, he's a little down on his numbers with the bat this season, isn't he, Joe Balderson? But he's got 350s to his name. Got a chance to have a bat this afternoon.
Crane round the wicket into Harris, who just sits on that into the leg side. Yeah, you're doing well out here as an all-rounder to keep both your numbers up. And he's been excellent with the ball for Lancashire, the leading wicket taker this year in the county championship. Crane's in. Harris playing through the offside, where he might pick up a couple because it's a 6-3 field, way to the leg side. Fernando comes round from mid-off. Harris gets 2. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of an effect on his batting with the amount of overs and the role that he's taken with the ball this year for Balderson, but he's got county championship hundreds. He's certainly capable. Crane in, and Harris pushes that into the offside, takes an easy single.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, no one's bowled as many overs this season for Lancashire than George Balderson's. That's quite a heavy workload he's carried with the ball, and then to try and match that with the bat, he wants to, and as I said before, they become this real seriously genuine all-rounder for Lancashire. But I suppose with that, you don't want to be leading the way with the ball, do you? You want to be contributing as kind of first change, don't you, really, rather than kind of shouldering the bulk of the responsibility and then trying to keep your numbers up as well with the bat.
Yeah, you look at the all-rounders like Stokes, Flintoff come to mind for England and Lancashire with Flintoff. Like you say, the first change seamers, aren't they? Not the ones who are doing the bulk of the work.
There's Kellaway to Harris. That's cut away into the offside for a single. He was to 61. Remember when Tom Smith had that role for Lancashire? Probably did it as well as anybody's done it in the last 15, 20 years. He was, he would chip in with 30 wickets a season, but chip in with 800 runs as well, but not. Forward goes Harris in defence, no run, but not out there kind of shouldering the bulk of the bowling and not out there shouldering the bulk of the batting. But just the way that the team's set up at the minute, the way that he's just fallen this season, where he's been kind of front and centre with the ball. Took the back foot, pushed into the offside, no run, and has just dropped almost naturally down the batting order as a result of that.
Yeah, a workload thing, and like you say, even when he's batting, he's not coming in sometimes at the best scenarios.
Kellaway a little bit flatter to Balderson.
Sometimes he's having to come in and try and rebuild an innings at number 7, so that extra workload, that extra stress. He's certainly got the skill to become a top quality all-rounder for Lancashire.
He's a classy batter, isn't he, when he gets going. He's forward in defence and there's no run.
Because he came into the team as an opening batter, didn't he, at first?
Yeah, he opened the batting.
Yeah.
Again, maybe that was a little too high. I mean, he has opened the batting at different age groups, and I think under 19 level for England, I think. Pushed away for no run, but ended over that 284 for 7. But yeah, he's a classy player, isn't he? When he's in form and playing well with confidence and in good rhythm, he's a good player to watch. A couple of hundreds to his name in county championship cricket as well, a couple of seasons ago. Just the way that it's fallen for him this year. He's just slowly kind of dropped down the batting order as his responsibility with the ball has increased. Smith had that when Tom Smith was in that role. He had kind of like Chappell and Hogg.
Yeah,
and
doing the bulk of the work. Yeah. Crane round the wicket. So Harris is a call. Yep, he's gone. Inside edge, onto his pad. Spoons up. The leg slip fielder takes the catch. I think it's Carlson. Mason Crane, from the angle, we knew, although he's gone at a decent rate, we knew it would always be a threat coming in round the wicket to the left-hander, into the footholes, getting that really sharp spin, and with that leg side dominant field, he's reaped the rewards. You see Harris batting outside, off stump, and he just clips it onto his pad. He looks so frustrated. It's a soft dismissal, but there's not too much you can do about that. 284 for 8 Lancashire, 2 wickets for victory now for Glamorgan.
It's amazing, isn't it? Crane's got Harris twice in the match, but one will feel so different to the other. The full toss from the first ball he sent down in the first innings. He barely managed a celebration, but he'll enjoy that one. Finding the inside edge, looping up towards Carlson, who takes the catch. Maybe got a bit of a gift in the first innings, Mason Crane. He was reluctant to celebrate too much when he got Harris first time round, but he'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, big wicket. Marcus Harris, the Australian international. Glamorgan 2 wickets away from what will be a brilliant victory here at Emirates Old Trafford.
Yeah, just to recap, they are playing now between Gloucestershire and Middlesex, but that's still in the first innings.
Bonus point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
So that's heading one way, and Northamptonshire, Derbyshire is still being delayed due to rain. Derbyshire 4 down, trail Northampton by 121. So they're 2 wickets away here, potentially, Glamorgan, from not just a win, but a win with teams below them not able to find wins.
Tom Hartley, the new batter, as Crane straight in, attacking the pads in an appeal for an LBW, but again, as we spoke about yesterday, with the angle that he's bowling at, how wide he releases the ball, the spin he's getting because of that angle, he's going to do very well to get an LBW. Crane in, just back of a length, outside the line of our stump. Hartley defends into the offside where he gets a single because of the heavy leg side field.
It's the only game actually in the country that's not in play at the minute at Wantage Road, Northamptonshire against Derbyshire. Everywhere else are underway. We'll look at some of the scores at the end of this Mason Crane over.
Slip leg slipping a short leg. It's the two left-handers now as Crane's in, and Balderson on the reverse sweep. I think does it take a deflection off one of the fielders. He ends up getting a couple. Yeah, it takes a deflection off this short leg.
Because Carlson didn't see it, did he? Is it leg slip, Kieran Carlson? I don't think he had a clue where it had gone.
It hits him on the helmet, and
it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
So they're just going to check. He struck it pretty firmly as well, Balderson.
It looped up off Acer Tribe. Kieran Carlson, who's at leg slip, knew that it's in the air and knew there's a chance, but just couldn't pick out where the ball was. Landed safely. Looks like first things first. Acer Tribe is fine. I think it's just a kind of precautionary check with the ball.
You have to check the helmet as well nowadays, don't you? Every time it gets hit. I don't know what the rules are in terms of fielding and helmets now. I don't know. Is it not called a dead ball as soon as it's helmet, or is that just when batting? It might just be when batting.
That is, yeah. I think if that comes off his helmet and takes the catch, I think
he's out.
I think he's out, but there are
because the rules have changed recently, haven't they?
Now I'm saying it out loud. I'm not quite sure.
Balderson's like, shut up, lads.
Yeah,
I'm having the two.
Yeah, you're right. Right, let's have a little bounce around, shall we? What's happening elsewhere? I mentioned the Northamptonshire Derbyshire game. That's been delayed due to bad weather. They're playing at Cheltenham College, where Gloucestershire are taking on Middlesex. Gloucestershire 81-1, reply to Middlesex 445. Kent against Leicestershire. Again, this is heading one way. Kent 320-5. In reply to Leicestershire's 471. All out. And in Division 1, Essex Warwickshire. Essex 67-1. Lead Warwickshire by 184 runs. Somerset are 2 down at 98-2, trailing Nottinghamshire by 8 at Trent Bridge. Hampshire 253-6, so they lead Worcestershire by 297 runs. And Sussex trying to hang on against the Yorkies at 169-7. Sussex trail Yorkshire by 154 with 3 wickets remaining. Have you got the test match score up there by any chance?
Yep, 1-2-4 for 1. England going well. There's Crane in. Balderson just defends into the offside, but Ingram running round from slip, cuts a single off. One ball left in this over, which has brought the scalp of Marcus Harris, the Australian. There's Crane in. Balderson just prodding forward, a little bit aerial, but no signs of any danger. It's the end of a good over from Mason Crane, the big wicket of Marcus Harris. Glamorgan are 2 away from a very good victory.
Yeah, perfect way to kind of sign off with this little block of championship matches. We've got blocks at the moment where we had the original 7 and then 2 in the middle of the T20 Blast, then 2 more, and then a break for the Metrobank One Day Cup and the 100 in August, and then back again in September for the County Championship. The One Day Cup starts this coming week. I know quite a few teams have warm-up games against national county sides. As Kellaway comes in to Hartley, let's play back towards him. There's no run. Not sure if Glamorgan do or not. Lancashire play Cheshire on Sunday at Sedbergh School, and then Northamptonshire on the Tuesday, again at Sedbergh School. Kellaway to Hartley. Let's run away into the offside. Stopped at cover by Sam Northeast. No run. So there's no warm-up game for Glamorgan this year, but Callaway in forward goes Hartley. A thickish edge of the bat down to short third, no run. And the Glammy Boys get underway in the one-day cup at Neath on Tuesday. Back-to-back games at Neath, Tuesday and the following Thursday, no run. 287 for 8, Lancashire. Silly point, slip and a short leg, Callaway in, bowls forward again, goes Hartley and defends. And there's no addition to the score. Lancashire played at Neath a few years ago in the one-day cup. It's a new ground on my list. Nice venue, Neath, enjoyed it. Hartley goes back and defends his next delivery. Back to Callaway, and there's no run. End of the over a maiden, that 287 for 8. Balderson on 3 and Hartley on 1.
Do like a nice outground.
Yeah.
Nice feel to him. Spectators a little bit closer to the action.
I agree. Lancashire have had 3 on the spin in the county championship. So the Blackpool game against Kent at Stanley Park, and then to Chesterfield, play Derbyshire at Queen's Park, and then Cheltenham College for the Gloucestershire game. And 3 really good games of cricket, good crowds.
You have to bring results, don't they?
Yeah.
Outground,
yeah.
wickets.
Nice feel to all three games.
Crane into the left-handed George Balderson, who just prods forward, plays it into the offside, gets a single. Crane doing the fielding off his own bowler.
And the Metrobank one-day cup brings that type of thing to it as well, doesn't it? With obviously the main grounds being occupied by 100 games. I'm not sure if Glamorgan play any games in Cardiff or not in the one-day cup. They've got 2, have they? Okay, 2 at Cardiff. Lancashire have got one game here, and then a couple at Liverpool and 1 at Sebba. That competition gets out and about to the grounds.
Crane into Hartley. It's come off the pad again. There's a gentle appeal for any signs of an inside edge, but it's just a very gentle hand up from Mason Crane. No signs of any inside edge. 288 for 8, Lancashire. Crane in. Hartley on the sweep. Doesn't pick the wrong one. Well bowled from Mason Crane. A deep mid-wicket and a deep square out on the leg side. As he's in quicker and flatter. Hartley well aware and just plays that into the leg side for no run. Coming off a brilliant knock as well. Tom Hartley last week at Cheltenham, sweeping again. And it might have come off the toe end of the bat as it finds its way to the Glamorgan captain at mid-wicket.
He had a pretty good week last week, Tom Hartley. 11 wickets in the match and the century as well.
It's a steady game. Crane in. Hartley prodding forward, playing into the leg side for no run. It's the end of the over. 288 for 8. Lancashire needing another 185 for what will be a very unlikely victory from this stage. Morgan just needing 2 wickets. Callaway is going to continue. He's been impressive in this second innings with his off spin. He's got good control. Seems to put good revs on the ball, gets some good purchase from the spin as he bowling outside the line of off stump, and Balderson plays that into the offside for a single. Deep point, sweeps around, does the fielding. There's 3 close catches in at all times to the 2 left-handers of Balderson and Hartley. Does Hartley take strike? Callaway in, back of a length. Probably the first real signs of any missed length from Callaway. And Hartley takes advantage, pulls it nicely through straightish mid-wicket, and he picks up a 4.
Yeah, I think Glamorgan just have to be careful to manage expectations of Ben Kellaway, who's made such a fine entrance as a regular member of the first team this season, having broken in at the back end of last year and sort of showed flashes in limited overs cricket for a couple of seasons previously.
Then he comes round the wicket. Response to Hartley going a little bit fuller, a little bit flatter this time. Hartley digs it out.
This is a 21-year-old who's, you know, been bowling 30-odd over stints in Championship cricket for the first time over the last few weeks.
Kellaway in, and he bowls an absolute beauty to Tom Hartley. It looks like he's covering all his stumps, but Kellaway finds a way to beat the outside edge, and the off stump actually comes out the ground. It's a beautiful delivery. It's an off spinner's dream. It's a perfect ball for an off spin around the wicket. Middle and leg, hitting the top of off. It's a beautiful delivery from the youngster.
Yes, that was something of antique as the commentator, really, wasn't it? Having spoken just seconds previously about managing expectations, he gets his third wicket of the innings and puts Glamorgan on the brink of a very important victory here.
Yeah, it's very well bowled from Kellaway. I've been very impressed with his control, his lines and his lengths. He's not tried to do anything too special. He just keeps putting it in the areas, asking questions of the Lancashire batters.
Yeah, this is a bit of a rarity, this victory at Old Trafford. Last time Glamorgan won a championship game here back in 1993. All right, they haven't always played every year, and Lancashire have hosted Glamorgan at other grounds, but potentially a significant development given the Division 2 table, and maybe Glamorgan are reasonably strong favourites if they complete this one to finish in the top two, and just hope that any restructuring does keep them in the top tier, whatever it may be. Oh, it's ridiculous when we have to throw in all these caveats every year. Here's Kellaway then to last man, James Anderson. Hartley bowled for 5, and the Vultures gather for Glamorgan. 3 round the bat as Kellaway is in to bowl and Anderson is forward, defending on the offside, and there is no run. 57 overs left, a further 180 runs needed for Lancashire to win. What will Anderson's modus operandi be? To grit it out for as long as possible, or just to have some fun? 4 round the bat now as Kellaway bowls, and Anderson gets a ball that spits on him a little bit, but manages to play it down wide of second slip and go through for the single to get off the mark. 294 for 9, 179 runs, or 1 wicket needed to win for Glamorgan.
Yeah, an excellent over from Kellaway, getting the wicket of Tom Hartley, the Centurion, last week, and a 10th as well in the same game. Been very impressed with the young Glamorgan spinner, all-rounder. Had a nice little cameo yesterday. Looked like he could have gone on to score a few more before getting out. But he took that confidence into his bowl, and he's asked plenty of questions, and he's certainly been served up plenty of left-handers as well with this Lancashire lineup.
Mason Crane then to try and finish Lancashire off. He's got 2 for 95 after his first innings, 6 for 19. And Crane is in bowls to Anderson, who hits it away on the leg side and will pick up a couple of runs, scurrying back for the second run as he went for a big hoik towards the hotel. And got away with it. I lost sight of the ball. Was it in the air for long or not? It was.
I think it was, with some of the cheers at first. I thought it was going all the way for 6. And it ended up just being a couple.
296 for 9. And given the relatively low first innings scores, this has been a great attempt by Lancashire. The dismissal of Wells last night and Marcus Harris just after lunch proving key, as Crane is in to Anderson, who reverse sweeps for 4 to bring up the 300. Well, there's your answer. Anderson's going to have some fun while it lasts.
Yeah, it's such a strength of Jimmy Anderson's, isn't it? The reverse sweep. It's a go-to shot for Sir James Anderson, as he's known now. We've seen it in the Test Arena for many years, and now he's bringing it to the County Championship. Such a strength. He plays it so well.
300 for 9. The Red Rose County, and as a result of that, Glamorgan switch a few fielders round. There's now a short third man in Colin Ingram in case he goes for the shot again and top edges it, or he goes for another leg side hoik and makes no contact at all.
Yeah, it's a little bit early on that one. As Anderson takes a hit into the ribs.
Here's Crane in again, bowls, and Anderson plays that one away through the offside. We'll pick up a couple of runs. Fernando is chasing out towards the deep cover boundary, picks it up 5 metres inside the ropes, and Anderson moves up to 9. He's already overtaken George Balderson, who's 5 off 25 balls. Anderson, a couple of days after his 43rd birthday, is going down fighting. Crane over the wicket, and Anderson tries a lap shot and gets away with it. The ball bobbles up over the leg slip position, runs down to fine leg for a single. Wasn't the most dignified, but it's taken him into double figures.
Yeah, he didn't want to get too low, did he? Morris played it, stood up at one stage. It looked like it could have been catching practice for the short leg fielder.
Well, Carlson's already had a couple of catches in close. As Crane bowls, Balderson goes for a big slog sweep. Appeal for LBW, not out. As he tried to disturb the hotel diners away to our right. So anyone having a late lunch, he might have been ducking there, but Balderson making no real contact. 303 for 9 at the end of the Crane over.
Yeah, we've spoke about Crane and the unlikely chance of him getting an LBW from the angle and with the spin he's getting, but it looked full enough to potentially restrict that spin and potentially hit the stumps.
Umpires obviously in no hurry to hit the motorway. Galloway in to bowl to Anderson, who cuts nicely down to short third man. There's no run. Stories of the back-to-back championship games at different venues for the umpires. As Galloway bowls, and the swing and a miss from Anderson is that if they had a long journey to make before another game the next day, they would be peculiarly prone to LBWs on the last day, so they could give themselves some travel time. Galloway in, bowls to Anderson, who looks to a leg glance and makes no contact. 303 for 9.
I think on that Saturday in club cricket, I think the finger would have gone up at this state of the game.
Galloway bowls, Anderson steps back and forces up to deep mid-off. It's just the single as Ul Hassan does the fielding. And we'll see if Balderson looks to join in. Galloway in, bowls, defended on the leg side to Fernando at mid-on. Wonder if Glamorgan will consider bringing back Fernando for a blast just to try and rip out the final wicket rather than tease and twirl it out. The clouds reasonably high at the moment, but after this morning's slightly unexpected delay, they'll want to get things wrapped up if they can. There's Callaway bowls and Balderson lunges forward, defends on the offside, and there is no run. 304 for 9, further 169 required for victory by the hosts.
Yeah, just going back to your comments on the approach of Lancashire in this second innings, it was obviously a defeat. You don't often pick out many positives, but the approach that they've taken in this second innings is not often you speak about the positives in second innings chases and scoring runs, especially chasing a mammoth target like it has been. But the way Lancashire's gone about it, I think they can take positives from that going into the remaining fixtures in September of the county championship. 304, and they've scored at a decent rate so far as well, and they've been really positive. 4.22 and over so far. I think that's something that'll spread around the dressing room. Not positive intent.
It's been a remarkable switch in balance of power between bat and ball after the first innings as Crane starts a new over, bowling to Anderson, who goes for the slog sweep, gets it all along the ground out to square leg, and they go through for a single. Anderson to 12, the total to 305 for 9. Remember, 473 is the victory target. Wickets to fall today. Bailey for 16, Green for 9, Marcus Harris for 61, and Hartley for 5. Crane round the wicket. Bowls. Balderson beaten. There's half an appeal, maybe a quarter for caught behind and a quarter for stumping. Neither was really serious.
It's a beautiful delivery, that Rongan again. Just getting the better of George Balderson.
Crane in bowls. Balderson sweeps and gets that one away down towards fine leg. Zainul Hassan is the fielder, single taken. 306 for 9. Crane once capped by England, a couple of limited overs appearances as well, but left Hampshire for Glamorgan before last season in the bid to get more regular red ball cricket, and he's certainly done that despite some injuries this season. Crane in bowls. Anderson leg glances for a single down to fine leg. Did he get bat on it? Umpire keeping us waiting. No, it's a leg by. 307 for 9.
Just tying McCrane a little bit, isn't he, James Anderson?
Balderson on strike. 3 round the bat. Keeps it a little bit low, and Balderson does well to dig that one out. Of course, even though the match may be lost from a team point of view, the two last batters always want to get a few for their stats and get themselves feeling good about their abilities. Crane bowls. Balderson swings it away, doesn't really get hold of it. It's a single down to square leg again. And as you say, this last pair toying with Glamorgan really to some extent. 308 for 9, but it should be now just a matter of time. Welsh supporters and viewers will hope on this overcast, but thankfully at the moment dry afternoon.
Yeah, the lights are on, but don't feel like there's any signs of any threat just yet from the skies.
A few dozen supporters who travelled up with the Balconeers are booked in for tonight as well, so they'll be painting the town red, or some shade thereof. As Callaway is in to bowl to Balderson, who drives nicely through mid-on for 4. 312 for 9.
Yeah, just over pitch from Callaway, maybe searching for that Yorker, try and get one under the bat of George Balderson. Over pitches, and Balderson switched on enough to take his opportunity to get another boundary and get 4 more runs onto his tally.
He's into double figures after 33 deliveries faced. And Anderson, though, is still a run ahead of him. Callaway, right arm off spin around the wicket. Forward comes Balderson, defends to silly point. He's a tribe, there's no run. And Callaway quickly back at his work. And that's lofted just over mid-off. Balderson getting away with one. Will it plug? Ul Hassan slides but can't stop the ball nestling up against the boundary ropes. And, well, that one wasn't off the meat of the bat, but it was firmly enough hit to clear the field to prevent it from being a chance.
Yeah, just about gets enough on it, doesn't it? Falls a couple of yards behind and then runs away to the boundary.
3:16 for 9. Callaway bowls. Balderson forward, defends to short leg, no run. Floodlights, meaning there's no danger of light levels taking us off. Lost a few overs on day 2. As that's cut away on the offside again. Shouts of catch, but again it's gone nowhere near the fielder, and they're able to take a comfortable single. Balderson 16, 317 for 9. 156 runs needed to win. Callaway in bowls short of a length, mistimed by Anderson. Plays it straight to cover. No run. Time, I think, for Fernando to try and put the wind up the last pair.
Yeah, certainly. I think just a change of pace, something a little bit different, and try and skittle through one of George Balderson or James Anderson with that extra skiddy pace that he's got.
We're only, I suppose, less than 2 hours, less than an hour and a half, really, into today's play. So no James Harris as yet today. As Crane continues from the Anderson end, Balderson drives to mid-on and there's no run. Crane will want to bring his economy rate down a bit, 2 for 107 in his 19th over. Took some stick particularly last night, but these things happen for a leg spinner. Crane in, bowls, and it's defended gently back past the bowler. Anderson jumps in mock exaggerated fashion as the ball trickles underneath his feet and they don't attempt a single. Very little of Ned Leonard used in this match. Crane bowls, appeal for LBW. They'll go through for a leg by as it bounces down towards third man. Look to be very much outside the line.
Yeah, it's the hardest skill to bowl, isn't it? Leg spin, and like you say, some days you've got to accept that you're gonna be a little bit more expensive because it's an attacking art, and you do feel like you are constantly in the game. You've got opportunities to take wickets, but often when you're trying to take wickets, runs can often come as well.
Crane bowls, reverse sweep comes out from Anderson, doesn't make much contact, and Crane is wondering how that one didn't get through or lob up off another edge. We've already seen 2 back pad catches taken today by Carlson. Crane in around the umpire. Bowls, Anderson swings, that one's...
Oh, bowled him.
Bowled him, it's taken off the off bail as it went through everything, and that is it for Glamorgan. They have won this match by 154 runs. Lancashire are all out for 318 as Mason Crane takes the final wicket. James Anderson is bowled for 12. George Balderson is 16 not out. And Glamorgan strengthen their place in the top 2 of Division 2.
Yeah, really good victory for Glamorgan. Just that last wicket coming from a slog sweep from James Anderson. It just clips the bails. I think a few fielders, even ourselves up here, thought at first it was 4 byes, but It just about takes the off stump, takes the bail off, and it's a fabulous victory for Glamorgan. Very well batted yesterday with Carlson and North East setting up the victory, but then the bowlers as well with Crane and Kellaway both taking, I think it was 3 wickets each.
3 wickets each for the spinners, yeah.
They've been fantastic. Kellaway off here in that control. Crane constantly in the game trying to take wickets with the spin and the bounce and the unevenness of the turnout of the footholds, but the seamers as well with Fernando and Harris. Yesterday, a brilliant victory for Glamorgan, and there's some positives as well for Lancashire. 318 in the 4th innings, Kookaburra ball or not. It's a decent effort at 4.25 and over. A target of 473 is always a mammoth task. It would have been a record run chase. So there is some positives there for Lancashire with the positive intent that they've taken, and they'll look to take that into the next couple of months in the Metro One Day Cup, but also in the County Championship games to come as well.
Yeah, for Glamorgan, some excellent batting from Kieran Carlson in both innings. Asa Tribe in the first innings, Sam North East in the second as well, with the top score of the match, 132. Bowling of Crane and Fernando in the first innings, and a team performance with the ball really in the second innings, with the wickets shared round the 2 spinners and 2 of the seamers. So it's been an excellent 3.5 days cricket here at Old Trafford, and it's just felt like most of the time a high-quality Division 2 match.
Yeah, it certainly has as well. With the longer format, it brings them challenges mentally. And also with the pitch the first 2 days looked like a bowler-friendly wicket. Lots happening, whether a seamer or a spinner. But then over the last 2 days, days 3 and 4, it looked to be flattening out a little bit. And the way both teams have batted, it certainly shows that it got easier to bat on. 261 in the first innings for Glamorgan, 137 for Lancashire, and then 2 scores of over 300, both in the second innings for both teams. So it certainly showed that the wicket got better throughout the 4 days. But Glamorgan, that 137 all out, Crane 6 for 19. I think that was the real damage done for Lancashire.
Thank you very much indeed to Callum Flynn. What's your next gig on the BBC? Can you recall it off the top of your head?
Yep, we will be live on air for Lancs TV on Tuesday at Sedbergh for the Metro Bank One Day Cup. So that'll be the next gig. For those listeners with us across the BBC Sport website and app, there'll be coverage of selected One Day Cup games over the next few weeks. But for viewers on Lancs TV, the One Day Cup warm-up match is your next live game. Join us for coverage. Lancashire versus Cheshire at Sedbergh School on Sunday from 11.
Thank you very much indeed then from Callum, from Scott Reed, from myself, Nick Webb, from Sachi, who was with us for the first couple of days. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage as Glamorgan take home the spoils. Victory for the first time in 32 years at Old Trafford in a championship match. Glamorgan win by 154 runs. Thank you very much indeed for listening and viewing. From us all, a very good afternoon. Pranam Da.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.